Chapter 209. Su Qianxi felt a little uneasy, and she was ready to bear all the bad news. However, she could not imagine what kind of news Tang Menjing could have that made Lu Yihan so cautious. Subconsciously holding her breath, she waited for Lu Yihan's words. In the end, Lu Yihan still couldn't bear to say, "That woman is pregnant." Boom! Su Qianxi felt her ears ringing as if something in her brain had suddenly collapsed. Lu Yihan was silent, and so was Su Qianxi. After a long time, Su Qianxi suddenly came back to herself and said firmly, "Impossible." Lu Yihan was silent for a moment and sent the recording over. Su Qianxi trembled and touched the touch panel of the laptop, wanting to open it, but her heart was trembling. Impossible. Impossible. Clearly, Tang Menjing was not pregnant in her previous lifetime, right? Clearly, Tang Menjing did not announce the news of her pregnancy at all, did she? And, with Tang Menjing's personality, she should have announced it, shouldn't she? Yes, it was absolutely impossible for her to be pregnant. Su Qianxi forced a smile and said, "It can't be Li Xiqing's, right?" Lu Yihan could not bear it and sighed. Silence was better than words. Su Qianxi's heart tightened. She downloaded the recording and heard Tang Menjing's voice. 7 o'clock in the evening, the same place. "Oh, there's a new task again? What? This time it's Li Xiqing's woman again. Humph, why do you care so much? You'd better watch your mouth, or I can get all the money back." "Why do you care so much? What do you want to do this time? How much? Let's talk face to face. And, on the video I asked you to make, you need to add something." "Add what?" "I want to post the news of my pregnancy." "You're really pregnant?" "Yes, Li Xiqing's." The voice was sweet, happy, and gentle. Hearing this, Su Qianxi could not bear it anymore, and her hands were a bit weak. In her mind, the ambiguous voice that had been lingering in her ears for the past 2 months sounded. Calculating the time, it should be more than 2 months now, which was the time to protect the baby. Thinking of the passion and eagerness he had shown her in the past few days, was it because Tang Menjing was pregnant that he used her as a substitute? Su Qianxi's brain was terribly empty, and her heart hurt terribly. She shouldn't think too much. She didn't want to think too much, but her thoughts couldn't help but be excited. In the end, it was her turn to cry. Li Xiqing came back from work and squeezed into the bedroom. Because their relationship had improved in the past few days, he dragged her directly to the master bedroom to rest. This time, she was still sitting in the master bedroom. Entering the door, Su Qianxi was sitting in front of the computer with her back to the door. She seemed to be in a daze. He hugged her from behind, buried his face in her neck and whispered, "I'm back." But when he took a closer look, he saw that there were obvious new tear stains on her pink and tender face that had almost recovered. What happened? Li Xiqing glanced at the screen on the computer, but only had time to see it was Lu Yihan's window, and Su Qianxi closed it. Li Xiqing's eyes darkened, pretending not to see it was Lu Yihan, and said as if nothing had happened, "Today, I will help you move all your things here." Her things were still in the second bedroom. They were husband and wife, so they should live in the same room, right? Chapter 210. Su Qianxi resisted his hug. Taking his hand away, she stood up. It was still the same face, the same look. However, when she thought that he was facing another woman the same way, she couldn't help but feel disgusted. "Let's wait for a few days." Before she finished, Li Xiqing understood what she meant. He was a little dissatisfied, but seeing her look, he reached out to wipe away her tears and nodded considerately. "Mr. Li." Su Qianxi looked up, but seeing his cold and deep eyes, she swallowed the question that was on the tip of her tongue. Should she ask? Should she? Could she? Seeing that she wanted to say something, Li Xiqing was curious and looked at her in confusion. She bit her lower lip and asked in a low voice, "How do you feel about Tang Menjing?" Li Xiqing arched an eyebrow. "The neighbor's sister. That's it." Su Qianxi looked at him with a complicated look. Her eyes were wet, and she couldn't tell what she was feeling. "Yes." "Oh. Liar, liar. If he really thought of her as a sister, would he sleep with her? If he really thought of her as a sister, would he have children with her?" That night in both her previous and current life was a thorn in her heart that she could not get rid of. She could not get rid of it, but the pain was excruciating. Su Qianxi did not feel very good, and her eyes were slightly red. What's wrong? Li Xiqing looked distressed. He raised his hand, wanting to hold her in his arms. Shaking her head again and again, she stepped away from him. Let's go eat. She turned around and walked out of the room. Li Xiqing paused and looked at the bare desktop of her computer, his eyes cold and deep. On the bed, Su Chenxi's cell phone rang, and the caller was Yihan. Seeing the name, Li Xiqing's heart sank even more. Combined with Su Chenxi's attitude, it was clear what she meant. She was still pestering Lu Yihan. When she was in the Maldives, she still pretended to be with him. Now that she was back in China, she wanted to get rid of him, right? So, she was tired of looking at him now, right? Anger surged in his heart, but he quickly warned himself to calm down. Trust her, trust her. However, after hesitating, he still picked up the phone without saying anything. Qian, I got it. That woman and the shooter are going to meet at an abandoned factory in the east of the city at 7 p.m. It's almost 6 p.m. now. Ask Mr. Li to send someone there. What do you mean? His voice was low and deep, as if it was laced with ice. Hearing Li Xiqing's voice, Lu Yihan was overjoyed and briefly explained what had happened. However, after thinking about it, he still did not tell Li Xiqing that she already knew about Tang Menjing. Even so, Li Xiqing's aura became even colder. So, if we send someone over now, we might be able to find out what they are up to. It would be best if we can take a picture of it as evidence. Mr. Xiqing, Li Xiqing, Su Chenxi said. Lu Yihan's enthusiasm was extinguished, and he hung up the phone in embarrassment. Lu Chenxi, Su Chenxi asked, Su and Su. Chong he say. Su Xian asked. Li, she asked. Said. Chapter 2:11. The usual place? The usual place she and Lu Yihan went to was the coffee shop. However, what was so important that he needed to talk to her face to face? Su Chenxi frowned, stood up, and went back to her room to get her phone. Li Xiqing stood in front of her, his eyes cold. Where are you going? To ask him what's the matter. Let's eat first. But what if it's an emergency? Su Chenxi was about to walk away. Li Xiqing pursed his lips, reached out, and grabbed her hand. His cold eyes seemed to be raging, but when she looked closer he was calm. He said, he asked me to send someone to the warehouse on the east side of the city. Hearing that, Su Chenxi's eyes flashed with sharpness. Have you found Tang Menjing's meeting place? Li Xiqing narrowed his eyes and nodded. Su Chenxi was silent for a moment. Seeing his obviously colder face, she said, Li Xiqing. Li Xiqing? Li Xiqing looked at her, and his lips gradually curled up. Do you need me to remind you who you are, Mrs. Li? Su Chenxi's dark eyes met his even colder eyes, feeling a bit nervous. She was still afraid of him. The fear deep in her bones would not disappear just because he was nice to her. Su Chenxi suddenly felt a bit weak. She plucked up her courage and looked straight at him. I think I have found out who killed my child. My child. Not our child. Li Xiqing's hands slightly tightened, and his eyes were sharp. Your child is not mine? Feeling the pain, she frowned and wanted to break free, but he held her firmly. Tell me, isn't it? Seeing her frown, Li Xiqing suddenly had a crazy idea. The miscarried child was very likely not his. Su Chenxi felt humiliated by his question. He was suspecting her? A surge of anger surged in her heart, and her breathing became rapid. Staring at his cold face, she sneered. I am not as despicable as you, who would do anything. Let go. I'm cheap? He gritted his teeth and held her even tighter. How dare you call me that? Su Chenxi was horrified and blurted it out in a fit of anger. But now, Su Chenxi was so shocked that she trembled slightly, and her eyes were red. She shouted. Isn't it? You are married. Why did you sleep with another woman? Aren't you a bitch? Her voice was hysterical, and she was choking with sobs. Li Xiqing was dazed by the roar, and the coldness on him eased a bit. She thought he felt guilty and almost suffocated. Biting her lower lip, she stared at him with red eyes. Nanny Rong came in after putting away the clothes. Seeing the two of them fighting, she was shocked. What's going on? He waved his hand, indicating that it was fine. Looking at the angry woman in front of him, he calmed down and asked, What makes you think that I slept with another woman? She looked up at him, her eyes slightly red. If not, then where did that child come from? With Tang Menjing's obsession with Li Xiqing, it was impossible for her to have sex outside. If he did not sleep with her, then where did her child come from? Su Qianxi did not speak. Li Xiqing took a step closer, his eyes sharp and serious. If I tell you that you are my first and only woman, would you believe it? Would you believe it? Chapter 2:12. Hearing that, Su Qianxi was dazed. His eyes were dark, deep, and intense. They were so serious that she almost wanted to blurt out, "I believe you." However, she knew. Impossible, that's impossible. He was 26 years old this year, the age of youth. Was that the only time he had ever had sex with her? Did Tang Menjing like him so much, and he had never responded? Su Qianxi's eyes flickered, looking extremely complicated. However, seeing her eyes, Li Xiqing's heart suddenly sank. She did not need any answer. He had already seen it. She did not believe him. Seeing the cold atmosphere, Nanny Rong hurried over and said, "Second master, second mistress, let's eat. You will have the energy to fight after eating, right?" Fight? Are they having a quarrel? Su Qianxi looked away, took her hand back, and went upstairs. Li Xiqing looked at her back as she walked away. His eyes were burning, and he followed her. Knowing that he was behind her, Su Qianxi walked faster into the master bedroom and immediately locked the door. Leaning against the door, tears of grievance flowed down her cheeks. Why didn't she ask? Why didn't she tell him? When Tang Menjing was pregnant, she could have just asked him face to face. However, she did not dare. What if he directly turned around to look for Tang Menjing? What if he directly told her that the one he liked and loved was Tang Menjing? What should she do? She was so scared that she did not have the courage to say it out loud. About 10 minutes later, she grabbed her phone and computer, stood by the door for a moment, and was about to go out. However, as soon as she opened the door, she felt a gust of cold air. Li Xiqing was standing at the door with a cold face. She was shocked and wanted to close the door, but he had already squeezed his way in. She stepped back, and he approached her. Forcing her into the corner, Li Xiqing looked down at the computer in front of her and threw it on the bed. Then, he put his hands on the side of her body and looked down at her. Su Qianxi's eyes were slightly red and swollen. Obviously, she had just cried. Li Xiqing felt strange. She had put the blame on him. He had not cried yet. Why was she crying? Looking even colder, he lowered his voice and tried not to look angry. Why don't you believe me? Why didn't she believe him? Why didn't she believe him? Su Qianxi's heart suddenly tightened, and the feeling of soreness hit her like a tide, wave after wave. Why should I believe you? I am your husband. But, I am not the only woman you have. She smiled with difficulty, but this smile had been corroded by sadness and grievance. Li Xiqing's eyes became cold, and he lowered his head to capture her lips. She turned her head to avoid his lips and let him kiss her on the cheek. Tasting a mouthful of salty tears, Li Xiqing licked the tip of his tongue and tried more. From her face, he slowly kissed her eyes, her eyebrows, and the tip of her nose. Finally, his big hands straightened her face and slowly landed on her lips. However, Su Qianxi pursed her lips tightly and refused to let go. More and more tears flowed down. Unscrupulous. "Let me tell you a secret," he said in a low voice. She looked at him from the corner of her eyes. Chapter 2:13. His heart skipped a beat. Su Qianxi opened her tearful eyes and looked at him. Li Xiqing wiped away her tears with his slightly calloused hand and said, "But why do you suspect me? Why do you suspect me?" There was a hint of bitterness in his voice. Indistinctly, his resentment soared to the heavens. He was not angry. He was just resentful. Resentful that she did not believe him and suspected him? Su Qianxi's tears fell even harder. She choked and said, "Then, why Tang Menjing?" Li Xiqing's heart sank and asked, "That woman again? What did she say to her? That was why his little wife was so suspicious of him?" Su Qianxi saw his unkind face, and the determination in her heart seemed to be shaken at that moment. It seemed that he did not have the kind of feelings for Tang Menjing that she had imagined. Otherwise, how could he have such an expression? Li Xiqing noticed her hesitation, leaned closer and whispered, What did she say? If Tang Menjing said it to her face, Su Qianxi would definitely not believe it. However, the news was eavesdropped on her own. Plus the phone call that night. She is pregnant.
Li Xiqing heard that, arched an eyebrow and suddenly sneered in a low voice. So soon?
Didn't she say that she loved him so much that she could not extricate herself? After returning from the business trip, she even threatened to marry him. At that time, he could not stand it and asked her to leave. Now, in less than 3 months, she was pregnant? Su Qianxi gritted her teeth, feeling even more empty.
She looked up and asked, "You admit it?"
Admit what?
Li Xiqing asked and suddenly realized something.
You think that the child is mine? Seeing his calm look, Su Qianxi suddenly felt suffocated. Liar, liar. It was obviously his. Why did he pretend to be innocent? She said it herself. The child is yours. Li Xiqing curled his lips and approached her, saying, 80% of the women in Kingstown want to have children with me.
Her eyes widened, unable to believe that such shameless words came out of his mouth.
Li Xiqing leaned closer and said hoarsely, she tried to seduce me more than once, but unfortunately, I couldn't get hard with her. Can't get hard for Tang Menjing? But to me, he's in heat everywhere? How could it be you? Su Qianxi stuttered. Blushing, she lowered her head, a bit upset. Aren't you? He pressed her against the wall and whispered. I only have this feeling for you. Su Qianxi, I want to have children with you. Su Qianxi was even more flustered.
She wanted to push him away, but found that he did not move at all.
When she looked up, her lips were firmly pressed against his. She didn't have the slightest bit of defense before he attacked her.
All of her weapons were destroyed, and he was forcing her to lay down her arms and surrender.
Li Xiqing put his right arm around her waist, picked her up, and pressed her down on the bed. Wan Lily. Hey, Qianqian, you're so easy to coax. Su Qianxi thought. He's so charming. I can't take it. Chapter 214. With their hot breaths intertwined, Li Xiqing buried his face in her neck and kissed her passionately, gradually moving down. The tingling sensation made Su Qianxi's whole body tense up. Even her pink toes curled up. Did he leave? Li Xiqing suddenly asked, looking up at her with some desire in his eyes. Su Qianxi was confused and blinked. Li Xiqing did not answer but moved his hand down. Su Qianxi immediately understood, shrank her neck, and nodded with a blush. Just yesterday. A trace of satisfaction flashed in his cold eyes. When he was about to move again, someone knocked on the door.
Nanny Rong's voice came. Sir, madam, let's talk nicely.
Don't fight. Su Qianxi heard that and blushed even more, feeling ashamed. They were just quarreling a moment ago, and now, they ended up on the bed. Ugh, so embarrassing. Seeing her embarrassed look, Li Xiqing chuckled and sucked on her exposed neck, leaving a mark and reluctantly said, I'll go open the door. Su Qianxi put her hand on her neck. When he got up, she immediately hid under the blanket. Nanny Rong was worried. The couple had only been together for a few days, but they were already quarreling. As elders they were worried sick. Although Su Qianxi knew that Li Xiqing would not do anything to a woman, she was still worried that Su Qianxi might say something mean and make him angry, and then, anxious, Nanny Rong couldn't help but knock a few more times. First, before she finished, the door was opened. Li Xiqing's cold face was suddenly radiant, his eyes blurred, and even his neat hairstyle was a bit messy. Li Xiqing's face was cold and expressionless. His eyes were blurred, and even his hair was a bit messy. What's wrong? Li Xiqing's voice was a bit low and depressed. Nanny Rong was experienced. She knew what was going on with one look. Blushing, she immediately looked away and said, You haven't eaten yet. Don't be too late. Hearing Nanny Rong's words, Su Qianxi was even more embarrassed. Nanny Rong must think that she was being too casual. They were just fighting.
Moreover, the source of the quarrel was him. She got up from the bed, tidied herself up and was about to go out.
Li Xiqing had just closed the door again. Turning around, he saw the woman trying to escape.
Pressing her against the wall, he couldn't hide the lust in his eyes as he whispered, Where are we going?
Hungry. He stared at her like an eagle looking at its prey. Licking his lips, he said, I'm hungry too. As he spoke, his cold eyes were filled with hunger. Su Chenxi was so naked that she turned her head away in embarrassment. When he said he was hungry, did she really mean the same thing? Why did she feel so horrified? At that moment, Li Xiqing's phone rang. It was the detective sent by Cheng Yu. "Boss, the hunter has arrived at the destination and is waiting for orders." "Hunt." "Yes." After hanging up, he saw Su Chenxi clutching her belly and looking at him pitifully. Li Xiqing smiled and ruffled her hair. "Let's eat first." When Nanny Rong saw the couple walking down hand in hand, her eyes widened and she blurted out, "So fast." Li Xiqing's face suddenly became gloomy. "Wan Lily. Ha ha ha, Mr. Li, so fast." Chapter 2:15.
It was 7 o'clock in the evening, and the abandoned factory in the east of the city was deserted. In a place where there weren't many people, a van that was neither old nor new slowly drove into a place that couldn't be any more ordinary.
The hunter took out a camera in the dark and connected it to Cheng Yu's remote device.
"Prey in the net."
"Roger that." The van gradually came to a stop, and a woman whose entire body was wrapped tightly got out of the van. Wearing a mask, a hat, glasses, and a long-sleeve chiffon shirt that was out of season, and a pair of sneakers, he slowly walked to a corner. About 3 minutes later, the heavy sound of a motorcycle came. The sound of a top-of-the-line motorcycle was very eye-catching. A man got off, took off the protective cover, and whistled. Just like Tang Menjing, he did not notice that someone was ambushing him. "Hey, what are you afraid of by wrapping yourself up like this every time? It's not like anyone will find out." "Cut the crap. Where are the things?" "Pfft, you have no sense of humor." He threw an envelope into Tang Menjing's hand. "It's not easy for me to Photoshop these things. You have to pay me more. You will die because of money sooner or later." Tang Menjing opened the envelope and saw the photos. She smiled with satisfaction. "Where did you find this man? He's so ugly." "You don't know him? He is the most popular guy on Weibo, and he likes to post these kinds of photos in bed. I just spent some money to buy some that have not been leaked yet and then change the faces of these women." "Well, good technique. I can't tell that it's Photoshop at all." "Of course. Where is the thing you want to add?" "Here. Remember to add it. Then, Li Xiqing will not be able to deny it." "Okay, I will add it when I get back. Remember to pay me." "I can't do without you. You have to know that I am risking my life to do this for you. Remember last time, Lao Jin was tortured by Li Xiqing. If this is exposed, I will die a worse death than him." "Are you afraid? Then I will ask someone else to do it. Come on, we have been working together for so long. Just give me 1 or 2 million, and I will do it for you." "Blackmail? 1 or 2 million?" The hunter thought that Tang Menjing would turn around and leave, but she said, "I will need you. Just do your job well, but are you sure you will be safe?" "Pfft, don't worry. In terms of hacking skills, I can guarantee that no one in the whole of China is better than me except for that Z." "That's good. Well done." "Okay." The two quickly said goodbye. Tang Menjing opened the door of the van and sat in the back seat. The man put on his hood and prepared to leave. Relieved, the hunter put the camera away, pressed the pause button, and put the camera away carefully. However, just as he was putting down the camera, his elbow accidentally touched the box next to him. The broken box quickly fell down, and in an instant, a large number of things fell down with a crash. Tang Menjing was startled, and so was the man. He shouted, "Who's there? Show yourself." The hunter, greatly frightened, rose and ran as soon as he saw them coming. Tang Menjing was so scared that her face turned pale. She shouted, "Stop! Quick, chase after him." Chapter 2:16. The hunter had never been so embarrassed. He thought that the task was completed and he could leave. Unexpectedly, at the last moment, he was tricked by himself. Running at the fastest speed in his life, the hunter did not dare to look back, but the sound of the motorcycle was getting closer and closer. The east of the city was a remote industrial area. After running out, there were very few cars coming and going. Seeing the sound of the motorcycle getting louder and louder, the hunter panicked even more. In the process of running, the hunter turned around and threw his precious camera at the man on the motorcycle. "Give it back to you." The man on the motorcycle was shocked. He did not expect this guy to be so ruthless. He tilted his head down, and the camera flew past his helmet. He hurriedly got out of the car and found the camera. However, he found that the place where the memory card should have been was empty. There was only a broken camera left.
What the F***CK?
Throwing the broken camera, the man on the motorcycle got in the car again and chased the hunter. Stepping on the gas, the distance between the hunter and him was shortened in an instant. What to do, what to do? The hunter felt that he was about to suffocate, and his legs were terribly sore. This feeling of extreme life and death was constantly stimulating his nerves. Can't stop, can't stop. Just after that, a sports car suddenly drifted and stopped in front of him.
The door was opened and a female voice came. Get in! Without much time to think, the hunter jumped on the door, slammed it shut and shouted, Hurry up!
Chengyu was not slow. She changed the automatic gear to the maximum and shouted, Sit tight! Her opponent had a superb motorcycle, and her was just an ordinary four-wheeled sports car. At this time, she could only compete with her skills. The hunter was about to respond, but suddenly he was almost flying, lying on the airbag in front of him. Chengyu's speed was so fast, and behind the car, the man on the motorcycle was chasing her. The speed of the superb motorcycle was far faster than their car. What to do? The hunter was full of guilt. He could only blame himself for being too careless. Looking ahead, he looked at Chengyu and asked, Miss Cheng, do you have a tissue?
Chengyu was a little impatient and shouted, Find it yourself.
The hunter did not dare to say more. He rummaged in the car and finally found a box of tissues, reaching out to open the window. Chengyu was a little angry. Are you crazy? Do you know what you're doing? The hunter ignored Chengyu's roar, tore up a few pieces of paper towels, opened the window, and scattered them. The biker followed closely behind them. He was extremely fast and was caught off guard by the paper towel. He shook his head in disgust. She suddenly knew what he was going to do. When the man's speed slowed down slightly, the car drifted, deliberately bumped, rubbed, and got stuck. Bang! There was a loud noise, and the man on the motorcycle swayed from the impact. However, with his driving skills, he didn't fall. When he steadied himself, he quickly went to check if his beloved bike was damaged. By the time he came back to his senses, the bike had already pulled away from him, and its speed was even faster. If he continued to chase, he definitely wouldn't be able to catch up. Fu**K. The man on the motorcycle cursed and took out his phone to call Tang Menjing. They ran away. How could that be? Is this how you do things? I spent so much money on you, and this is how you treat me? A shrill voice came from the other side of the phone. The biker picked his ears impatiently. What else can I do? She's already gone. What else can I do? Chapter 217. I've been discovered. When he received Chengyu's call, it was already past 7 p.m. He put down his chopsticks, and his eyes became even colder. What do you mean? Chengyu briefly told him what had happened and then said, Fortunately, the hunter got the memory card back. Give it to me. Yes, sir. When Chengyu and the hunter arrived at the house, it was almost 9 p.m. Su Chenxi was sitting on the sofa playing on the computer, while Li Xiqing was dealing with unfinished work. Hearing the doorbell, Su Chenxi got up to open the door, and Li Xiqing stopped working. As soon as they entered the door, the hunter felt a little unable to face the boss, shrinking his neck and standing far away. Chengyu directly handed the memory card to Li Xiqing. Using Su Chenxi's computer, Li Xiqing opened the video file in the memory card. The more he watched, the more gloomy his face became. Su Chenxi poured water and gave each of them a cup. Curiously, she came over. She happened to hear what the man said. Remember what Li Xiqing did to Lao Jin last time? Li Xiqing gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. His eyes were cold and full of malice. Lao Jin. He could only think of one person with the surname Jin. So, that Jin guy was very likely sent by Tang Menjing? His child, his first child with Su Chenxi, was killed by Tang Menjing? Li Xiqing looked to the side. Su Chenxi's face was pale, and her lips were pale. Biting her lower lip, she stared at the computer screen. Seeming to feel Li Xiqing's gaze, Su Chenxi looked over. Seeing his deep eyes, her heart raced. Li Xiqing found that she was looking at him with expectation, hesitation, and struggle, but no surprise. It's her. Su Chenxi's voice was a bit hoarse. She played an important role in our child's death. You already knew? Li Xiqing's face darkened. Why didn't you tell me? If he had known, Tang Menjing would never have lived so freely. I just found out and… Su Qianxi looked down and chuckled self-deprecatingly. Would you believe me if I told you? Li Xiqing's expression darkened. Staring at her, he asked, why not? Su Qianxi looked up at him, feeling complicated. Why would he believe it? Would she rush up to him and tell him loudly that Tang Menjing was actually the murderer of their child and that Tang Menjing was up to no good? Would he believe it? He wouldn't believe it. She had done this kind of thing before, hadn't she? He had been sick of this kind of thing countless times, hadn't he? In her previous life, she was suspected and spurned by everyone because of this. In this life, she didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. It was good enough that he didn't say anything, wasn't it? Seeing that she did not speak, Li Xiqing's eyes darkened and he said, you are my woman. Why wouldn't I believe you? Su Qianxi's heart was like a bell, suddenly ringing and lingering. His woman. He actually said that she was his woman again? This was the second time. The first time was when she was being bullied by those rich ladies, and he had appeared to protect her. The second time was under such circumstances. So, was he serious? Could she take it seriously? Once this identity label was attached, she would never want to take it off again, forever. At this time, Li Xiqing's phone rang. There were only 2 words. Luo Zhan. Chapter 218. Li Xiqing's heart suddenly sank. He opened the page as quickly as he could and clicked on the first trending topic. It was a striking title. Li Xiqing's wife is not satisfied, meets male prostitute late at night. Insatiable desire? Meet a male prostitute late at night? Nonsense. Li Xiqing slapped the table. Li Xiqing's wife has no desire at all. Chengyu suddenly realized something and looked at Su Qianxi. Su Qianxi suddenly blushed and tugged at Li Xiqing. On the other side of the phone, Luo Zhan also choked on his saliva. After a while he said, Bro, there's a lot of information in your words. Li Xiqing was speechless. But I've already deleted all the photos and replaced them with your wedding photos. There's only the title, so it shouldn't be much of a topic. Sure enough, when he scrolled down and clicked on the pictures, he saw that they were all refined wedding dresses. Su Qianxi's facial features were extremely beautiful. When Li Xiqing took this set of wedding photos, his face was always cold. If Grandpa did not force him, she had no doubt that he would definitely turn around and leave. However, why do you have this kind of picture? Oh, I took it from your wife's computer. Luo Zhan didn't care. Su Qianxi's eyes widened. This guy had hacked into her computer? F***CK. Can't you have some privacy? Moreover, was it really okay to say such a wicked thing out loud? Li Xiqing scrolled and found that the topic was from 10 minutes ago. There must be someone behind it for it to become a trending topic so quickly. Who is it? Did you find anything? Of course I'm Z. The hunter's eyes widened. No way, really? Luo Zhan heard another person's voice and immediately got angry. Are you on speakerphone? Yes. Damn, who's next to him? My wife, my assistant, and a stupid hunter. Li Xiqing's fingers flew over the keyboard and he quickly posted. Luo Zhan still wanted to say more, but suddenly exclaimed, You actually posted on Weibo. My wife will be meeting on October 15th. All major media are welcome to visit. F***CK. You even posted a picture of her kissing. You are declaring war. Li Xiqing curled his lips. Yes. He was declaring war. Tang Menjing had opened Weibo happily, wanting to see the effect of her money. He believed that now, Su Qianxi must have become a street rat. She wondered what Li Xiqing's expression would be like now. However, after looking around, he could only find a topic about Su Qianxi, Mrs. Li's fan meet. Clicking in, the first post was Li Xiqing's Weibo. The attached picture was a beautiful picture of a kiss. The quality of the picture was not very high, so it must have been taken with a cell phone. The background was the blue sea. Su Qianxi was wearing a red off-shoulder gown, blushing. She was holding Li Xiqing, and he was kissing her lips passionately. Tang Menjing's breathing became shorter and shorter. She screamed and smashed the computer. Bastard, bastard. Mrs. Tang immediately ran in and yelled,
What's wrong?
What's wrong?
Seeing her mother, Tang Menjing immediately burst into tears.
Mom, what should I do? What should I do? I can't wait for that day.
I'm going to tell the world now that the baby in my belly belongs to Li Xiqing.
Chapter 219. After Li Xiqing posted on Weibo, Cheng Yu received a call. Cheng Yu's English was very fluent, and Su Qianxi was secretly shocked. Combined with what had just happened, Cheng Yu's reaction and processing speed were also amazing. No wonder she could stay with Li Xiqing for so long. In her previous lifetime, she stayed with Li Xiqing for 8 years. After they got married and had children, Li Xiqing was reluctant to let her go and paid her a lot to stay. Cheng Yu's ability was not bad. After answering the phone, Cheng Yu looked a bit gloomy and called, "Boss." "Yes, something happened in the US? Yes, Mr. Stay is not in good health. He hopes you can go there in a few days." "Mr. Stay?" Su Qianxi recognized the name. When Li Xiqing was studying abroad, Mr. Stay was his mentor. Because he lost his son in his middle age, he almost treated Li Xiqing as his own son. Occasionally, when Li Xiqing had time, he would go to the US to visit the old man. Su Qianxi remembered that in her previous lifetime, the old man's death seemed to be around this time. Li Xiqing was silent for a moment and looked at Su Qianxi. "You go," Su Qianxi said before he said anything. "The old man can't wait. The sooner, the better." "Okay." Li Xiqing stood up and kissed her on the forehead. "I'll be back as soon as possible." "Boss, do you need me to go with you?" Cheng Yu asked. "No, you stay in Kingstown. You have full control of the company. If you can't solve it, call me." "Yes." In addition, follow up on the press conference. "Okay." "Thank you." Cheng Yu heard that and shivered. This. Big Boss was actually saying this to her? Cheng Yu could not accept it and immediately said, "Of course." Su Qianxi pursed her lips and said, "I'll go pack for you. Let's go together." Cheng Yu and the hunter were a bit embarrassed, and the hunter said, "Then I'll go first." Cheng Yu nodded. "I'll take you to the airport." Upstairs, she dragged out the suitcase and said, "Remember to eat on time. It may be a bit cold in the United States now. I will put some thick clothes for you. Remember to change into them when you are cold." And, before she finished, she realized that the man next to her had bent down and hugged her from behind. Su Qianxi's face suddenly burned. "What else?" Li Xiqing's voice was a bit low. "Say it all at once." As he spoke, he turned her around. His eyes and brows were so gentle that she couldn't help feeling a ripple in her heart. Su Qianxi blushed. Thinking that she would not see him for a few days, she put her arms around his waist and looked up. "Also come back soon." With a smile in his eyes, he pecked her lips. "Yes, honey." Hearing his playful words, she blushed even more. Pushing him away, she turned around and started to pack her clothes. She was very efficient and quickly booked a ticket to New York. The nearest flight was 2 hours away. She drove the car over and waited for more than 10 minutes before she saw Su Qianxi walk Li Xiqing out. However, when he reached the door, he suddenly stopped, put down his luggage, took her in his arms, and pressed her against the door, unwilling to let go of her. Cheng Yu blushed and her heart beat faster. She wanted to cry but had no tears. Chapter 220. After kissing for a long time, he reluctantly let her go. "Lock the door and windows. Be safe at home." "Okay." "When Nanny Roan comes tomorrow, ask her to move the things in your room to our room." "Okay." "Stay at home and wait for me." "Okay." "I'm leaving." "Okay." He reached out and rubbed her hair affectionately before picking up his luggage and walking to her car. Su Qianxi watched him leave, feeling sweet and empty. She entered the door and locked it. She went back to her room with her laptop and found there were several missed calls. Lu Yihan had 2, and Song Yifan had 3. She called Lu Yihan back immediately, but no one picked up. She hung up and called Song Yifan, who quickly responded, "Hello, Su Qianxi." "Uncle Song. Are you free? I have something to talk to you about." "What is it? Are you free on the 12th? How about going on a music tour with me in the capital?" "The capital?" "Yes, probably on Friday afternoon and back on Sunday afternoon, which is the 14th, Song Yifan said.
Fearing that she would refuse, he quickly added, "If you don't have time, it's okay." "Sure," Su Qianxi interrupted him.
Li Xiqing is not at home, and I'm bored at home.
Really?
Song Yifan looked surprised.
I don't have classes on Friday afternoon.
What time? How do I get there?
3 in the afternoon.
I'll book a ticket for you.
Okay. That's settled then. See you then.
Hanging up, Su Qianxi curled her lips. She did not know if it was an illusion, but Song Yifan seemed to be trying to please her. Was he also doubting her? That she was very likely to be his daughter? Lying on the bed, Su Qianxi stared at the white sky in a daze. Father, what a distant word. When he arrived at school the next day, many people looked at him differently. Su Qianxi turned a blind eye to the eyes around her. Before class, she picked up her phone and opened Weibo. She didn't know it until she opened it, but when she did, she found that the so-called male prostitute incident had long been forgotten, and the topic of #Mrs. Li's meet and greet had become a trending topic. A girl deliberately sat next to Su Qianxi, glanced at her phone, and suddenly touched a pen next to Su Qianxi.
Pata!
The ballpoint pen fell to the ground, and the girl immediately bent down to pick it up. She quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, classmate, I didn't mean it."
Su Qianxi tilted her head and smiled at her.
"It's okay."
The girl pretended to be surprised and exclaimed, "You are Su Qianxi?"
"Yes."
"Oh, I'm so honored to see the legendary Mrs. Li.
I heard that you're going to hold a meet and greet in a few days. I wish you success." "This is too fake." Suddenly, a sharp voice came from behind him, full of disdain. "If you want to participate, just say it. What are you pretending for?" The girl was a bit embarrassed and looked at Su Qianxi. She thought that Su Qianxi would be as cold as a few days ago, but unexpectedly, Su Qianxi just smiled and said, "If you have nothing to do, come and participate." As soon as she said that, the eyes of many girls in the class brightened, and people quickly gathered around. Su Qianxi took out a stack of invitations from her bag. "I didn't prepare a few days ago, so I didn't invite you. These are the invitations. You can bring your partners." The pile of invitations was like a piece of fat meat. In this group of hungry wolves who had been eyeing it for a long time, it was soon divided up. Su Qianxi always had a smile on her lips, and deep in her bright eyes, the light of wisdom flickered. Women were the most gossipy creatures. No one else. In this war without gunpowder, the loser would easily lose their reputation. Chapter 221. Perhaps because of the invitation, Su Qianxi was invited to the cafeteria by a lot of girls after class. This was the first time she had tried to interact with her classmates. At the beginning, Su Qianxi felt a bit awkward. However, after a few days, she actually felt good. Time flew, and it was Friday. After class at noon, Su Qianxi waved her hand and declined her classmates' invitations. Yang was already waiting at the door. Su Qianxi went home to pack her luggage. After eating something, she looked at the time. It was not yet 1 p.m. However, when she was about to leave for the airport, she received a surprising invitation. Su Qianxi looked at Tang Menjing, who was obviously rounder than before. She slowly stirred the coffee in front of her but did not drink it. She just looked at her quietly. Tang Menjing took a sip of the freshly squeezed juice in front of her and seemed to sigh. "I did not expect that we could still sit face to face like this. I really miss the old days. I don't know when we started to change." Hearing that, Su Qianxi curled her lips. She had been hurt so badly in her previous lifetime. If she did not stay away from her, would she wait for her to frame her? Su Qianxi did not speak. I looked at her with my dark eyes, as if I was looking at a retard. Tang Menjing could not stand the look in her eyes. She could not keep her composure anymore. She leaned forward and said, "Today, I asked you to come out to tell you a piece of great news." Su Qianxi looked at her. The look in her eyes changed from that of a retard to one of pity. She sighed and said, "What is it?" That tone, that expression, it was extremely helpless. Tang Menjing was suddenly angry. Obviously, Su Qianxi had not done anything. So far, she had only said one sentence, but it had really pissed her off. Seeing that Tang Menjing was obviously angry, Su Qianxi smiled and said, "You asked me to come out on this occasion. It must be something big, right?" This was a coffee shop, but it was not quiet at all. People were coming and going. As long as something happened, it would be spread quickly. Seeing that Tang Menjing finally fell into the trap, Tang Menjing smiled with satisfaction. This was Su Qianxi. Nothing big. It's just that. Maybe I was one step ahead of you. 2 months ago, when I was on a business trip with Brother Xiqing in Australia, we did it. Although she already knew what she was going to say, when Su Qianxi heard this, she still felt a sharp pain in her heart. The hand holding the coffee spoon slightly tightened. That phone call had always been a thorn in her heart. But he had said it, hadn't he? She was his first and only woman, wasn't she? So, she should believe him, right? Su Qianxi's movement was very subtle, but Tang Menjing caught it clearly. With a happy smile, she said, "When Brother Xiqing is in bed, he is really different from usual. He is very passionate. Is he the same to you?" Su Qianxi's hand that was stirring the coffee paused. "Don't be angry, you can't be angry." Tang Menjing's intention was too obvious. She wanted to irritate her, on such an occasion. If it were in the past, Su Qianxi would have immediately jumped up, picked up the coffee spoon, and poured it on Su Qianxi's face. She might even have grabbed Su Qianxi's hair and scolded her for being shameless. At this time, many people were staring at her, Mrs. Li. If such news was spread, then Li Xiqing and even the entire Li family and the Li consortium would be pushed into the teeth of the storm. Chapter 222. Su Qianxi knew that she was not particularly smart. However, she was definitely not stupid. Facing Tang Menjing's gaze, Su Qianxi looked unexpectedly calm. She seemed to be sarcastic. "Really?" Her voice was very calm, as if she really did not care. Tang Menjing did not see what she had expected and felt a bit uncertain. She suddenly felt that she could not see through Su Qianxi. Su Qianxi was getting smarter and smarter. Obviously, this was not a good thing for Tang Menjing. No one spoke again. After a minute or two, the atmosphere was indescribable. Tang Menjing finally couldn't stand it anymore. She seemed to be struggling and said, "Su Qianxi, I think it's better to tell you something." "What is it?" "I am pregnant, and the baby is Brother Xiqing's." Su Qianxi looked slightly surprised, put down the coffee spoon, and looked at her. Seeing that she finally had a reaction, Tang Menjing continued, "Now it is almost 3 months, and the baby already has a heartbeat. It is a boy." Families like the Li family attach great importance to their children. They certainly do not want their children to be illegitimate. "So, Su Qianxi, can you please help me? I know you must be very angry now, but please don't be impulsive. Brother Xiqing also cares about this child, but he does not want you to be sad, so he asked me to tell you. He hopes that you can let him go." Su Qianxi did not speak, but the more she listened, the more she felt it was funny. This woman was really unscrupulous in order to annoy her. Seeing the sneer on Su Qianxi's lips, Tang Menjing said tentatively, "You know, he said that he has never touched you. I am the only one he loves." When she said this, Tang Menjing stared at her. Sure enough, hearing this, Su Qianxi's eyes flickered slightly. It was just a flash, but it was real. Tang Menjing was ecstatic. Really? Did that mean she was the only one Li Xiqing had slept with? God, what a surprise! Thinking of that night in Australia, his voice and his body, Tang Menjing's heart could not help racing. She couldn't help saying again, "You know, he likes to enter me from behind, and it hurts me every time. However, since he knew I was pregnant, he has been much gentler. Brother Xiqing is really a good man. Auntie told me last time that Brother Xiqing doesn't like you very much and can't accept you. That's why he came back to me again and again." Every word made Su Qianxi's heart ache. She didn't know, she really didn't know. What position did he like? What attitude did he have? However, she could not believe what Tang Menjing said. In his previous life, he had been cheated and treated as a fool. At least, she knew that Li Xiqing was not one to lie. So, he wouldn't lie to her, right? Su Qianxi convinced herself, and her eyes became colder and colder. She crossed her arms and looked at Tang Menjing with a sneer. "Do you know what delusional disorder is?" This was paranoia. 80% of the women in Kingstown want to bear my husband's children. You have seduced him so many times. If he likes you even a little bit, he will not be able to resist. And Su Qianxi stood up, approached her and whispered, What he hates the most is the position of entering me from behind. Seeing Tang Menjing's face instantly darkened, Su Chenxi felt relieved and said in a low voice, "That way, he will feel like he is sleeping with a bitch. It is very perverted, don't you think?" Tang Menjing was furious and roared, "What do you mean?" This Su Chenxi dared to call her a bitch. Su Chenxi stepped back, smiled elegantly, picked up her purse, and said gently, "I still have something to do. I'll go." Whether he hated it or not, she did not know. However, she did it on purpose. Chapter 223. Tang Menjing was so angry that she wanted to catch up. Su Chenxi waved her hand and said, "Waiter, she's paying." The waiter immediately stopped her and asked her for the bill. After leaving the cafe, Yang drove her directly to the airport. Song Yifan had been standing at the gate of the airport. Seeing Su Chenxi getting out of the car, he let out a sigh of relief and went up to her. "You're here." "Yes, I was busy so I came late." "Why are you waiting here? The sun is so bright." Song Yifan smiled, feeling a bit embarrassed. He quickly went to the back seat to help her with her luggage. Yang was a bit surprised, but at the same time, he felt a sense of crisis. This old man couldn't be thinking of hitting on their madam, right? No, he had to tell his boss. After Su Chenxi and Song Yifan entered the airport, Yang immediately called Li Xicheng. Song Yifan's band was not only famous in China, but also internationally. They were undoubtedly proud of themselves. Although they did not say it out loud, they were still a bit dissatisfied with Song Yifan's sudden request to invite a young girl to the concert. However, the moment they saw Su Chenxi, they all understood why Song Yifan would invite her to such an important concert. This girl in that photo. After entering the airport, Su Chenxi met Song Yifan's teammates one by one. She found that they were unexpectedly easy to get along with. When they arrived at the capital, it was dusk. The air was gray and hazy, completely different from the green and fresh air of Kingstown. As soon as they got off the plane, someone came to welcome them. Although it was said to be a welcome, it was actually a social event. Song Yifan knew that Li Xicheng had protected Su Chenxi very well and probably rarely attended such events. He proposed to take her to rest, but Su Chenxi declined. After 3 rounds of drinks, the host looked at Su Chenxi and asked, "This is Su Chenxi, brought here by our team leader." Su Chenxi? That person was obviously not a caveman. Recently, the thing between Su Chenxi and Li Xicheng had been a hot topic, so he had already recognized her. "Mrs. Li? I am." Su Chenxi nodded. "Nice to meet you. I didn't expect you to come to the Imperial City." "I'm really flattered." What surprised him the most was that Song Yifan and Su Chenxi actually had a relationship. Song Yifan was not married yet. This relationship was intriguing. Follow Uncle Song to broaden your horizons. "Oh." The man smiled and quickly changed the topic. It was already 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening when the social interaction ended. Song Yifan booked a luxury suite for Su Chenxi, which made his teammates who could only live in single rooms sigh. Of course, she did not know about her special treatment. After a slight surprise, she settled down. The next day, Song Yifan took her to the Imperial Grand Theater. After looking around, she felt a bit itchy, so she borrowed a backup instrument from the violinist in the band and began to play along with them. Her first favorite instrument was the piano, and her second was the violin. At the end of the song, he realized that the music around him had stopped, and everyone was looking at him. Chapter 224. The people in the concert hall were all their own people, and each of them was a master. Su Chenxi blushed at the compliment. "Really good." Song Yifan walked over. "How long have you been studying?" 3 years, 4 years. Of course, it was learned by the previous generation. To be able to reach this level after learning for 3 to 4 years, talent? As expected of. The zither player chuckled and looked around, but she didn't point it out. Everyone around her knew what she meant. Song Yifan heard what the violinist said and blushed. "Another one? Let's play together." "All right." After one song, Song Yifan and Su Chenxi had a tacit understanding, as if they had worked together before. It was hard to believe that they were in sync. "All right." The violinist clapped her hands. "That's great. If it wasn't for the fact that Brother Song isn't married,
I would have thought that you were his daughter. Su Qianxi heard that and glanced at Song Yifan.
Don't talk nonsense. Although he said that, he couldn't hide the smile on his face. It was obvious that he liked to hear this. Everyone present knew Song Yifan very well.
Someone immediately shouted, "Now that you mention it, it does look like him, especially the shape of the face and the shape of the mouth."
Look. Yes, it really does look like it. Look at this. Doesn't it look like the photo in Brother Song's wallet?
Yes, could it be? Everyone turned to look at Zhang Xian.
Su Qianxi smiled and did not speak. Afraid that she would be upset, Song Yifan said, "Don't say that. Her mother's surname is Su." "Follow my mother's surname? Where's your dad?"
Song Yifan glared at someone who had a big mouth. She didn't care and said frankly, "I don't have a father. My mother left me at the gate of the orphanage when I was a child."
"Ah, so miserable. That's great. You don't have a father. Brother Song has always wanted a daughter. Why don't you take him as your godfather?"
"Bah, your godfather.
Don't you know that godfather is very ambiguous nowadays? Our brother Song is a very good person. If you want to call someone, you should call him godfather."
Come, call me godfather. Call him godfather, call him godfather."
The jeering got louder and louder. Song Yifan was a bit annoyed and said, "That's enough. Qianxi is my guest this time. The concert is about to begin. Stop making a scene." "Guests? Does that mean they will perform on stage?"
Someone's eyes lit up and asked. "Qianxi's violin skills are no worse than Anna's.
Why don't you try? What do you think, Qianxi?"
Looking at them, Su Qianxi was a bit nervous.
"Will it bring you trouble? I'm afraid I can't do it well. Moreover, in this kind of occasion, shouldn't it be especially important? If this thing was destroyed by her, what should she do?" "No, don't be nervous. When the time comes, just follow my rhythm,"
the violinist said with a face full of righteousness.
"Don't worry, you're pretty good. I have high hopes for you." To be honest, she also wanted to give it a try. Even in his dreams. In her past life, it was impossible for her to have such an opportunity. Now should she seize it? "It's okay."
Song Yifan looked at her.
"If you are nervous, don't go on stage today. There is a public performance tomorrow morning." "I'll go." Su Qianxi blushed, her eyes sparkling. "I want to give it a try. Can I?"
Seeing the nervousness and desire in her eyes, Song Yifan smiled and naturally reached out to rub her head like he was coaxing a child.
"Silly girl, of course. Dash." Chapter 225. The intimate gesture made Su Qianxi's neck stiffen. Looking up, she saw Song Yifan's eyes shining with love.
He really treated her as his daughter.
Su Qianxi felt something hit her heart.
An indescribable feeling slowly spread from the depths of her heart to her eyes.
Father. A strange name.
She had been longing for it for more than 20 years.
Su Qianxi did not resist his gesture and nodded. Seeing such a scene, everyone looked at each other and smiled. No one dared to say anything more. In the concert hall of the Capital Grand Theater, the audience was all senior leaders and ambassadors from other countries. After listening to the performance, there was a thunderous applause. Su Qianxi could hear everyone praising Song Yifan even when she was backstage. Was such a person really her father? In October, it was a bit cold in Kingstown at night. After Li Weiya and Tang Mengqing finished the hot pot, they walked back to their dorm, talking and laughing. Suddenly, Tang Mengqing received a call. "I am in the woods on the left side of the school. Come here. Someone." Tang Mengqing heard it and turned around. "Weiya, you go back first. I have something to do." "But it's almost time. You go back first." "It's fine." "Okay." Li Weiya turned around, but the more she thought about it, the more she felt something was wrong. It was so late. Did Tang Mengqing have a boyfriend again? Last time, her miscarriage had caused a stir in several families and the school, which had greatly damaged her reputation. She had tried so hard to suppress it, and she hoped that it would not go wrong again. Thinking about it, Li Weiya still followed her. In case she did not get along with the boy, she could go up and make peace with him. Unexpectedly, after Tang Mengqing walked into the woods, she sneaked up to a van. The van looked very ordinary, But for a girl from a rich family like Li Weiya, it was a bit shabby. Tang Mingqing's boyfriend turned out to be this kind of person? What a lack of self-respect. Li Weiya was a bit angry, followed her, and found that Tang Mingqing had gotten into the van. The window of the passenger seat was not closed. When Li Weiya was hiding next to the van, she heard a familiar voice. Ask Li Weiya to give this to Su Chenxi. Tang Mengqing? How could it be her? If she wanted to see Tang Mengqing, did she have to be so sneaky? Tang Mengqing asked, lipstick? Why did you give her lipstick? That bitch is so disgusting. This is a mixture of aphrodisiac. As long as she puts it on, it will inevitably go into her mouth. The effect time is about an hour, and I am afraid the press conference is only halfway through. If she does a striptease in front of everyone, don't you think it will be wonderful? Tang Mengqing's voice was cold and resentful. Her vicious words made Li Weiya shrink slightly. Li Weiya was stunned. Tang Mengqing usually looked gentle and pretty, and she was very nice to people. Moreover, wasn't her relationship with second cousin brother very good? Why did he want to harm second sister-in-law? The information contained in these words was too much for her to handle, and it was too terrifying. Tang Mengqing was a bit excited. Really? My gosh, sister, you are so awesome. I wonder what Su Chenxi will do. If she really loses face in front of those distinguished guests, even old man Li won't be able to protect her. Chapter 226. The last concert was in the morning. After promising Song Yifan that she would go on stage, Su Chenxi got up early and put on some light makeup. She picked out a dress that she could wear to the event. Su Chenxi thought that today's concert would be similar to the one last night. However, when she arrived, she realized that it was a music conference. The people who came were all musicians that Su Chenxi had only seen on TV and in the news in her previous lifetime. So many big shots. When Su Chenxi followed Song Yifan's band in, she felt like she was dreaming. Song Yifan greeted them one by one. Many foreign friends gave him warm hugs and kissed him on the cheek. Many people noticed Su Chenxi's face. Song Yifan only said that she was a young man and wanted to broaden his horizons. However, inadvertently, Su Chenxi seemed to feel someone looking at her. Looking sideways, she found it was another acquaintance. It was a tall man wearing a sapphire suit and a ruby bow tie. His tall figure strode over, looking gentle and elegant. Long time no see, Mrs. Li. Bo Xiao? Su Chenxi was a bit surprised but soon felt relieved. Bo Xiao had already made a name for himself in the music conference. Since even she could come, why couldn't he? Mrs. Li, you still remember me. I am honored. Bo Xiao raised his glass and looked at Song Yifan. Mr. Song, so you two know each other. Song Yifan's kind smile faded the moment he saw Bo Xiao. I did not expect that you two know each other. I've met him once. Song Yifan curled his lips and said, not a good thing. Rarely seeing Song Yifan so sharp, Su Chenxi could not help but look at him a few more times. Bo Xiao spread his hands and looked innocent, but he still maintained a gentleman's smile. It seems that Mr. Song has some misunderstanding about me. May I know why? Song Yifan did not speak, but the female violinist next to him said in a slightly dissatisfied voice, I heard that Mr. Bo already has a fiancé, but you still have a girlfriend. This really makes people doubt your style. Su Chenxi is married, and I hope you can behave yourself. Bo Xiao felt a little innocent. A helpless smile flashed across his deep dark brown eyes. I'm so wronged. Has the outside world already spread rumors about me to such an unbearable level? Mrs. Li. Bo Xiao, you are here. A pretty figure came up and took Bo Xiao's arm. I have been looking for you for a long time. You. When the girl saw Su Chenxi, she paused and her eyes darkened. Su Chenxi was a bit scared, but she still nodded with a smile. So you have friends. The exchange is about to begin. Let's go back to our seats. Bo Xiao looked down at the girl beside him. His eyes were no different from when he looked at other people. He replied lightly, okay. Then he raised his eyes and introduced, this is my fiancée, Rong Anna. Rong Anna greeted everyone with a smile, but when she looked at Su Chenxi, she. Chapter 227. Bo Xiao glanced at her and said softly, my dear, it's an illusion. Rong Anna frowned, turned around, and found that Su Chenxi was surrounded by a group of people. With a smile on her face and light makeup, her facial features looked more delicate and soft, like the girl next door. Seeming to feel that Rong Anna was looking at her, Su Chenxi quickly followed her gaze and smiled at her. Rong Anna raised an eyebrow and chuckled. It's really an illusion. They do look a bit similar, but there are many people who look like this. It is inevitable that you will have this illusion. Yes. At the music conference, many famous artists would perform on stage. While playing, Su Chenxi could not help but feel nervous. Before they went on stage, it was Bo Xiao. Bo Xiao and Rong Anna went on stage together. Bo Xiao was playing the piano, and Rong Anna was playing the violin. The song was melodious and meaningful. It was one of Bo Xiao's favorite songs. Obviously, the cooperation with Rong Anna was not so good, because Su Chenxi had heard him play better. Finally it was their turn. Su Chenxi's mind was blank the whole time. Originally, she was worried that she would be embarrassed because of nervousness. Fortunately, the audience was very enthusiastic, and no one seemed to notice her sudden appearance. The conference soon ended, and Song Yifan's band undoubtedly became the hottest topic. Su Chenxi silently hid behind Song Yifan, quietly being a beautiful woman. After saying goodbye to the famous artists at the airport, she was able to get on the plane back to Kingstown. Today was October 14th. We are back. We will arrive at Kingstown at 5 p.m. Yes, according to the original plan. Out of the airport, Su Chenxi declined Song Yifan's offer to take her back and stood at the gate, waiting for Yang. However, 10 minutes later, he had not arrived yet. Su Chenxi's phone rang. It turned out that the car had broken down for some reason and could not move on the highway. Su Chenxi had to find a taxi herself. The airport was not far from the villa area, only half an hour's drive. However, the driver took her for more than 40 minutes. Seeing the increasing amount on the meter, Su Chenxi suddenly understood something. Sir, please hurry up. It's too late. Okay. In the end, the driver did not take her home but left her at the intersection a few streets away from the villa area. The reason was that he ran out of gas. She was annoyed and angry. Dragging her suitcase, she resigned herself to her fate and walked home. It was already past 6 o'clock in the evening. It was the beginning of autumn, and the sky darkened earlier and earlier. Su Chenxi walked back, and it was already dusk. It was dinner time, and there were not many people on the street. As she walked, she felt someone was following her. His footsteps paused for a moment as he looked back. There was nothing out of the ordinary. She turned back and continued, but the feeling became stronger. Su Chenxi became vigilant, picked up her phone, and dialed 110, ready for any emergency. Dragging her luggage, when she turned the corner, she suddenly felt a rush of breath behind her. Then she was hugged, and the strong smell of alcohol hit her. Su Chenxi, at Hua. At Su and Cho King Su and Chi and at and. Chapter 228. Su Chenxi was pushed to the ground, and her white and delicate skin was quickly scratched. Hearing the clanking sound of the belt, Su Chenxi was even more shocked. What did he want to do? She couldn't be so unlucky. Enduring the pain, Su Chenxi got up from the ground and rushed to the entrance of the alley. However, the drunkard's reaction was extremely fast. Dragging her by her clothes, he threw her into the alley. The alley was very dirty, and there were glass shards on the ground. Su Chenxi was thrown into the alley, feeling a burning pain on her back. However, Su Chenxi reacted quickly. Picking up a larger piece of glass next to her, she threw it at the man. Get out of my way. The drunkard's face was red, and his face was covered with a long beard. His clothes looked a bit old and white. Seeing the long piece of glass in Su Chenxi's hand, he chuckled. Little girl, you are so tasty. His voice was dry and hoarse, as if he had not drunk water for decades. It was extremely unpleasant to hear. Slowly approaching, Su Chenxi's body trembled, and her voice trembled. Don't come any closer. If you come any closer, I will kill you. Pfft, every woman says that, but in the end, they still get F***ed. Be good, and I can be gentler. Su Chenxi was scared, trembling slightly. Waving the long piece of glass in her hand,
She tried to drive him away. However, this drunkard was obviously a habitual offender. With a lewd smile, he suddenly jumped at her, not afraid of her glass at all. The long piece of glass pierced his arm, and bright red blood suddenly flowed out.
Su Chenxi screamed and quickly let go.
However, the drunkard took the opportunity to take the glass away and put his stinky mouth on her. Su Chenxi almost threw up and screamed, "Help! Get out of my way!"
"Qian?"
A slightly puzzled voice came from outside, and it was extremely familiar to him.
"Ihan! Help!" Su Chenxi's voice was filled with tears. Pushing the drunkard away, she also stretched out her legs to resist his invasion. Su Chenxi's suitcase and cell phone were at the entrance of the alley. Lu Yihan immediately rushed in and saw a dirty back. His anger was ignited. Lu Yihan grabbed the man and flung him away. Then his fist landed on the man's face. However, the drunkard was obviously not a pushover. He quickly fought back and the two of them wrestled into a ball. Su Chenxi quickly got up and was shocked. For a moment, she did not know what to do. "Qian, go first." Lu Yihan was punched hard and fell to the ground. Lu Yihan was a computer nerd, and there was no way he would be a match for this habitual rapist. She was so anxious that she was about to cry. Suddenly, she had an idea. She found a long piece of glass and stabbed it at the drunkard. However, the drunkard glared at Lu Yihan and twisted him. He could clearly feel the glass piercing into someone else's flesh. Su Chenxi was so stiff that she could not feel anything, staring at the scene in front of her. Lu Yihan covered the side of his abdomen. Bright red blood kept dripping from the place he covered. Just above it, there was a piece of glass sticking out, which was shocking to see. Seeing this, the drunkard was shocked. He pushed Lu Yihan away and ran away. As the drunkard ran away, Su Chenxi could not hold it anymore. Overwhelming fear swept over her, as if there was a hand pressing her to the ground. She did not know what to do. Chapter 229. She killed someone. And it was her best friend who had been killed. What to do? Su Chenxi's vision blurred. She opened her mouth, trying to breathe, but her throat was choked. She did not know where she got the strength from, but she lifted Lu Yihan up and let him lean on her shoulder. Feeling his pain, Su Chenxi's heart was terribly empty. Tears kept flowing, blurring her vision. "Hang in there. I'll take you to the hospital. Hang in there." Sobbing, she almost couldn't hold back and burst into tears. Nothing could happen to him. However, before he reached the end of the alley, Lu Yihan could no longer support himself and fell down. Su Chenxi was dragged by his weight and fell uncontrollably, almost crushing him. Screaming, she finally couldn't hold it in and cried out, "Lu Yihan, don't die, you can't die." Lu Yihan covered his abdomen and said helplessly, "Silly, it's not my heart. I won't die. But it really hurts." Seeing that he was still in the mood to joke, Su Chenxi let out a sigh of relief. She wiped her tears and stood up. "I'll go get someone. Hang in there. Don't die. She quickly ran away. Lu Yihan's consciousness gradually blurred. Inadvertently, he seemed to see a figure standing by the window not far away, looking at him with a piercing gaze. It was already 10 minutes later when they arrived at the hospital. After some emergency treatment, Lu Yihan's life was no longer in danger. Fortunately, although the glass had pierced 3 centimeters into his abdomen, it just avoided his intestines and did not cause any irreparable damage. Hearing the news, Su Chenxi finally felt relieved. The phone rang. It was Li Xicheng. "Not home yet?" Li Xicheng's first sentence was. Su Chenxi looked at the time. It was already past 9 p.m. Nanny Rong had just called her 3 times, saying that she had something to do and asked her to get off work. She did not expect that the news had reached Li Xicheng. Hearing his voice, her heart, which had been frightened for a long time, suddenly calmed down. "Go back early. Nanny Rong is very worried about you." He was worried about her too. Su Chenxi pursed her lips, feeling wronged. She had so many things to say to him, but he was in the US. "When are you coming back?" Hearing the grievance in her voice, Li Xicheng curled his lips, feeling a little better after a few days of depression. He responded in a low voice and said calmly, "Tomorrow." "Are you still in New York?" "Yes, teacher has passed away." As his disciple, I should help him with his funeral arrangements. Old Mr. Sterry's funeral was today. Unfortunately, her meet and greet was tomorrow. It would take at least 12 hours to get from New York to Kingstown. That would be difficult. Thinking that he might not be able to make it back in time, he felt a bit guilty and added, "Have a good rest. I will try my best to be there for the press conference tomorrow night." Oh. She was a bit disappointed. "Then I'll wait for you to come back." Diamond. Someone on the other side of the phone called his English name. "Okay," he answered. "Go back early and wait for me. When I get back, let's hold a wedding, how about it?" Make up the wedding? Su Chenxi was dazed, thinking that when she married him, it was just a simple dinner with two families, which was a bit shabby. However, she did not expect that it was Li Xiqing who brought it up first. She was ecstatic, but she pretended to be reserved. "Is that necessary?" "Yes, I want everyone to know that you are Li Xiqing's wife." Chapter 230. Li Xiqing's eyes were filled with affection. After saying goodbye and hanging up, he found there were 2 missed calls and a text message. It was from Tang Menjing. "How about we talk?" Li Xiqing ignored it, locked the screen, and threw the phone away, turning around to continue his work. Lu Yihan's injury was not life-threatening, but it was not light either. After the surgery, Lu Yihan fell into a deep sleep. He was stabbed because he tried to save her. She could not leave him alone. However, after all, they were alone, and she was married. It was definitely not a good decision to stay with him for one night. After looking around, she found his cell phone. He pressed the power button to light up the screen, and a gentle and beautiful face appeared on it. When she was in high school, she was a bit rustic. She had an afro and dyed her nails in various colors. She liked to put a piece of gum in her mouth and enjoyed being called Sister Chen. Only he dared to correct her with a normal point of view. She was very impatient at that time, but unconsciously, he changed her into a normal person. This was a photo of her when she was in the 3rd year of high school. Her eyebrows were still a bit immature, and her chin was a bit chubby. Her hair was tied in a ponytail, and her eyes were not looking forward. The pixel was not high. 3 years ago, the pixel was not as high as today's. However, when was this photo taken? Su Chenxi was surprised to see her photo and looked at Lu Yihan on the bed. Without glasses, his facial features were clear. His slightly pale face was slightly slanted, and his breathing was even. He would use her photo as his wallpaper. What did that mean? Su Chenxi vaguely felt that she was overthinking. She shook her head and swiped the screen, only to find a password. She had no choice but to wait for Lu Yihan to wake up. However, as she waited, she fell asleep. When she woke up, she was lying on the empty bed in the ward, covered with a blanket. She suddenly woke up and looked around. It was dim, and the lights had been turned off. However, the light outside the window was breaking. She searched around and found her cell phone. It was already past 5 a.m. "Oh my God!" Su Chenxi exclaimed, waking up Lu Yihan in the next bed. He looked up. "What's wrong?" "Ah, I actually slept here." She was very regretful. "God, how could I fall asleep?" Lu Yihan breathed a sigh of relief. "I thought it was something important." She was a bit annoyed and quickly thought of something. She asked, "Why am I sleeping on the bed? Did you pick me up?" "Aha!" Lu Yihan propped himself up with a look of disgust. "I didn't expect that after so many years, you would gain weight again. You almost crushed me to death. F***CK. She couldn't help cursing. "I'm only 94 pounds. I'm not that heavy." "Oh, I thought you weighed 50 kilograms. "Shut up." She quickly put on her shoes. "Call your brother to take care of you. I have to go. I have a press conference today." "Okay." Lu Yihan nodded, but he couldn't help but feel sorry. "It wasn't easy for me to get on your good side, and I wanted to show my face at your press conference. I didn't expect that. I can't go now. There will be a chance." She rolled her eyes. "Soon, my husband will hold another big event for me." "What occasion?" "Wedding." She felt sweet inside and deliberately kept him in suspense. "I'm not telling you. I'm leaving." Seeing her leaving, Louis Han's eyes slightly dimmed, looking down at his cell phone. Chapter 231. The reception was very large, and the turmoil affected not only the people in the business circle, but also many people from the music festival, fashion industry, and social circles were invited. There was only one person in the whole of Kingstown who could invite so many big shots. In the whole country, there were only a handful of people who could do so. Chengyu looked at the venue design that her boss had rushed to make overnight in the United States, changing it left and right, and was very busy. The venue was set in the new villa that Li Xiqing had just bought. In the newly developed territory of the Li family, it covered a large area and was luxuriously decorated. The ground was covered with a red carpet, surrounded by delicate and bright red roses, and bright colorful glass lamps hung around, shining and blurring. There were a lot of reporters around, ready to broadcast the luxurious status of the party live on TV news and Weibo headlines. When Su Qianxi was picked up by Yang, it was already afternoon. Many people of the Li family had already arrived, sitting in the living room and chatting. Sunny, the royal stylist, dragged Su Qianxi into the makeup room and began to get ready. Just when Sunny was dressing Su Qianxi, a small head poked in. Li Weiya smiled at Su Qianxi. "Sister-in-law." Seeing it was Li Weiya, Su Qianxi smiled. "Yes." Li Weiya walked in with a smile, and Su Qianxi saw another person behind her through the mirror. Tang Mengqing. Seeing Tang Mengqing, Su Qianxi looked unhappy. Li Weiya did not notice the strangeness of Su Qianxi. She took out a box from behind her and said, "When I was shopping yesterday, I saw a lipstick color that was particularly suitable for you, so I bought it for you. You can use mine today." "Lipstick?" Sunny turned and looked over. "What color? Let me see." Li Weiya handed the gift box to Su Qianxi. "Sister-in-law, open it." Su Qianxi smiled. After opening the package, she found that it was a new international luxury brand. Sunny's eyes lit up. "It does suit you. Come on, try it." Then she put the lipstick on Su Qianxi's lips. Tang Mengqing's eyes sparkled. Seeing Su Qianxi put on her lipstick, she was ecstatic. Su Qianxi inadvertently glanced at the mirror and clearly saw Tang Mengqing's eyes. Her heart sank, and she felt something was wrong. Suddenly, he dodged. "Wait." Sunny was stunned. "What's wrong?" "Strange." Tang Mengqing's eyes were filled with confusion. Su Qianxi looked at them, pursed her lips, and pretended to say, "Where did you buy this lipstick? Why does it smell weird?" "Will it?" Sunny looked puzzled. "No, it smells good." "Don't you like it, second sister-in-law?" Li Weiya seemed to be a little disappointed. "I specially picked it. This color is especially suitable for you." Seeing Li Weiya like this, Su Qianxi felt sorry for her. For this little girl, Su Qianxi still liked her. "I don't dislike it. It's very pretty." "Then let's try it." Without saying anything, Sunny put it on Su Qianxi's mouth. After applying the lipstick, Sunny looked satisfied. "Beautiful!" Li Weiya shouted with amazement and envy in her eyes. "Second sister-in-law is so beautiful. Don't you think so, Mengqing?" Seeing the color on Su Qianxi's lips, Tang Mengqing couldn't help feeling excited. She nodded with a bright smile. "Yes, very beautiful." The drama that they had prepared for so long was finally going to be released. Chapter 232. No matter how good Su Qianxi was, she would not be able to escape unscathed under such circumstances. At that time, even Li Xiqing would not be able to protect her. She would like to see how she could be so arrogant after today. Sunny did not notice Tang Mengqing's expression and kept talking to Su Qianxi. Su Qianxi, on the other hand, turned her head and saw the hatred in Tang Mengqing's eyes. No. Tang Mengqing's expression clearly said that she must have done something bad. Was there really something wrong with this lipstick? Su Qianxi licked it. It seemed to be a little better than regular lipstick. However, what was wrong? The person who gave it to her was Li Weiya. Li Weiya was a kind child. She would never hurt him, would she? Su Qianxi looked at Li Weiya and found that Li Weiya was looking at her with a smile. There was nothing strange. Feeling relieved, Su Qianxi let Sunny do the styling for her. Li Weiya glanced at it and was pulled out by Tang Mengqing. "Weiya, the lipstick you gave to your sister-in-law was the one I gave you, right?" Yes. You said that you were too embarrassed to give it to her yourself, so you asked me to do it. In fact, if you apologized to her yourself, she might forgive you. I was just scared. If she did not forgive me, I would be so embarrassed. Hearing that, Li Weiya saw Tang Mingqing's expression as usual and was extremely disappointed. She really thought of her as her best friend. When Mr. Saida was alive, he was a highly respected professor. Therefore, his funeral was attended by many people. After a series of procedures, Li Xiqing was so exhausted that he felt like he was going to fall apart. Checking the time from time to time, he felt a bit anxious. Seeing him like this, his friends knew that he had other important things to do, so they asked him to take care of other things first. However, Li Xiqing never had this habit. After finishing the funeral, he had stayed up all night. Looking at his watch, it was past 8 a.m. I have to go now. I will leave the rest to you. Why are you in such a hurry? Did something happen to the company? He shook his head and smiled gently. My wife is still waiting for me at home. The student was shocked by the smile on Li Xiqing's face. Watching Li Xiqing walk away, his eyes fell on the documents he had finished overnight. F***CK. Superman? Rushing to the airport, he looked a bit tired after not having a good rest for 2 days and nights. However, thinking that Su Qianxi was still waiting for him, all the fatigue were swept away. Soon, he would be home. There were still 12 hours to go. Ding dong. He received a MMS on his phone. The sender was an unknown number. Attached text. Take a look at what kind of person your wife is, staying out at night and sleeping with another man. Seeing this, Li Xiqing's eyes became even colder. Clicking on the download, it was a photo. In the dimly lit photo, Louis Han was wearing a hospital gown, looking at the girl on the bed tenderly, leaning over to kiss her. That girl. It was her. He had personally picked out this dress for her. She was wearing the dress he had given her, but she was with another man. His gaze shifted downwards. Time of filming, 2 a.m. Chapter 233. The party began at 7:00 p.m. The melodious and artistic music spread throughout the venue. The band was in the middle of the venue, very eye-catching. Isn't that Song Yifan? That's his personal musician and that... Oh my god, Li Xiqing actually invited this kind of band. That's amazing. Li Xiqing's ability is really beyond our imagination. The discussion became louder and louder, but many of them were experienced people. Although surprised by Li Xiqing's generosity, they did not make a fuss. Li Xiqing was not there, so everything was arranged by Cheng Yu and hosted by Captain Li. Many big shots that were hard to see in daily life appeared in the same place. The reporters around were excited and dedicated to reporting the scene. Suddenly, the crowd let out a cry of surprise. Their gazes converged on a young and handsome man. He was holding the arm of a female companion as he walked in. A female classmate of Su Qianxi exclaimed excitedly, "Mr. O! That is O Ming, even more handsome than in the magazine. Who is the girl next to him?" Under the gaze of the people around, Yu Lily held O Ming's hand and smiled beautifully. Yu Lily quietly searched through the crowd, but she didn't see the figure she wanted to see. Frowning, she turned her head and found that O Ming was looking at her with a faint smile. Yu Lily's heart skipped a beat and quickly looked away, not daring to look at him. O Ming approached her slightly, his hot breath on the side of her face, and whispered, "Who are you looking for?" Yu Lily felt a little uncomfortable. It was as if he already knew what she was looking for. Straightening her face, Yu Lily quickly got rid of O Ming and said confidently, "I'm looking for Su Qianxi." O Ming's evil eyes slightly narrowed, raised his eyebrows, and watched her gradually walk away. Yu Lily did not dare to relax until she walked into the inner room and saw Su Qianxi. She called, "Hi, Qian." Su Qianxi was standing with her grandpa and talking to an elder. Hearing Yu Lily's voice, she turned her head and smiled. "Lily, you are here." "Aha." Yu Lily looked around. "Louis Han didn't come to your press conference?" She shook her head. "He was injured and is now in the hospital." Yu Lily was shocked and a little nervous. "Is he injured? Hit by a car? Or was he struck by lightning?" Su Qianxi briefly told her what had happened, which made Yu Lily scared. Suddenly, Yu Lily frowned and said, I don't think it's that simple. The place where you live is surrounded by high-end buildings. The place that Li Xiqing chose will never have that kind of person. Is it possible? Yu Lily's words made Su Qianxi's heart sink. From yesterday until now, she only thought that her luck was a little bad. However, after her reminder, Su Qianxi suddenly realized something. The place where Lu Yihan lived was far away from her home, and Lu Yihan would never go to her home for no reason. So why did he go to that place? Yu Lily's words were like a key that connected all the things that had been bothering her for a long time. Chapter 234. However, even if she wanted to harm her, why did she do this? Did she not want her to attend the press conference today? Or, did she want her to be raped by the drunkard? She was not only plotting against her, but also against Lu Yihan? Lu Yihan's appearance was strange. She would have to ask him about it after the party was over. Qian, it's time to go. Captain Li said. Okay. Su Qianxi said goodbye to Yu Lily and walked in the direction of Grandpa. Yu Lily was a little worried. She picked up the phone, found Lu Yihan's cell phone, and was about to call him. However, she felt a warm breath approaching her side. Yu Lily turned her head and saw a face that was familiar to her bones. Yu Lily was so scared that she took a step back. When she saw that it was O Ming, she shouted, "Asaba, are you crazy?" O Ming ignored her and stepped closer, squinting dangerously. Who do you want to call? Yu Lily felt a bit guilty. Straightening her back, she shouted, "It's none of your business. Your sister-in-law's press conference is about to begin. Go." Her footsteps were hurried, and O Ming was a little displeased as he watched her escape. The sound of the conversation was very loud. Song Yifan's band only played the opening song and then left, replaced by an ordinary band. People came and went, greeting each other. Suddenly, the lights around gradually dimmed. Cheng Yu said with a smile, "Thank you for coming. Next, let's welcome our protagonists, Mrs. Li and Miss Su Qianxi." As soon as Cheng Yu's voice fell, everyone looked back. A young and beautiful woman walked into the hall with an old man's hand in hers. Everyone was amazed. Looking at the young girl, their eyes lit up. Today, Su Qianxi was wearing a light gold dress that trailed the floor. Right at the end of the skirt, there were bits and pieces of diamonds. Under the surrounding colorful glass lamps, they looked very dazzling. Her long hair was tied up, and a few strands fell on her forehead. Light makeup made her look smart and energetic. Stunning. Everyone had heard that Li Xiqing had a wife, and many even knew that his wife was very beautiful. However, they did not expect that his wife would be so beautiful. She could practically kill all the popular female stars in the entertainment industry. Captain Li Sun was very satisfied with the amazement that his granddaughter-in-law brought to the people around him. He raised his head proudly. Although his back was slightly hunched, he still looked very tall standing next to her. Holding her hand and walking to the stage, Captain Li took the microphone from her with a smile. "Thank you very much for coming. I am Li Xiqing's grandfather, Li Sun." At the scene, thunderous applause sounded. Back then, Li Sun's military exploits were illustrious, and he was in the limelight. His lightning-fast methods were truly terrifying. Who wouldn't recognize his name? It was just that she didn't expect the ruthless character of the past to be so kind and benevolent in his old age. Unfortunately, Xiqing's teacher passed away in the United States. It happened so suddenly. We wanted to change the date, but considering your schedules. Although old Master Li Sun was getting on in years, he was still able to speak clearly. Many of the older, successful people looked at Li Sun with respect. This was a true famous general who wore armor to protect his country. Chapter 235. Captain Li Sun not only represented the glory of the Li family, but also the existence that they had dreamed of in their childhood, a symbol of an era. It was this old man who spoke with a bit of humor, which made the audience laugh several times. Su Qianxi also smiled. Her delicate and soft facial features were lit up with a smile, stunning many people. He inadvertently glanced over and saw a fiery red figure appear below the stage. Tang Menjing was hiding in the crowd, holding a glass of juice in her hand. Seeming to notice Su Qianxi's gaze, Tang Menjing raised the glass and slightly tilted it to Su Qianxi. It was so nice to be treated like a goddess in front of so many people. The old man also treated her like a treasure. Judging from his attitude, Tang Menjing could tell that the old man liked Su Qianxi very much. However, so what? No matter how perfect a life was, there would be flaws. Tang Menjing slowly walked out of the crowd and went to a corner. In that corner was the equipment that controlled the sound system and the video on the stage. Tang Mengqing was already waiting inside. Seeing Tang Menjing coming in, she asked, "Sister, are you ready?" "Yes." Hearing Tang Menjing's response, Tang Mengqing was a bit excited, clenching her fists. Later, Su Qianxi will definitely say something nice. After she finishes, we will put up the video and slap her in the face. At that time, even Li Xiqing will not be able to protect her. Hearing that, Tang Menjing's beautiful eyes were filled with resentment. Even if Li Xiqing is here, she is doomed to be ruined. Ha ha ha, great. Tang Mengqing was overjoyed. That woman has made me miserable. Not only is she hated by my father, but she also made me unable to hold my head up in school. I really don't know how such a woman married into the Li family. We are no match for this kind of woman. Tang Menjing gritted her teeth. She has the face of a vixen, but she is best at pretending to be innocent and weak, fooling everyone. I thought she was really stupid, but I did not expect that she was so cunning that she even schemed against me. Don't be angry, sister. After today, she will not be able to do anything. I saw her put on that lipstick with my own eyes. Wait a minute. Hee, that will be interesting. Tang Menjing's face softened. Thinking of what would happen to Su Qianxi, she felt much better. She asked, "When did you put it on?" "It's about time. She's still on stage. Let's go take a look." When the sisters walked out of the control room, they did not notice a slender figure sneaking in. Yu Lily originally just wanted to find a corner to make a phone call. It wasn't easy for her to sneak out, but she accidentally heard such a conversation. Video? The video that ruined Su Qianxi? Yu Lily raised her eyebrows, put her hand on the mouse, and started typing on the computer. In other words, even if someone accidentally barged in, there was no need to worry about being seen. No wonder he was so relaxed. Unfortunately, Yu Lily majored in computer science. His fingers moved quickly, and after cracking the password, he quickly found the video, clicked on it, and played it. In the video, Su Qianxi was surrounded by several men. The quality was good, but the angle was not good, so it was obviously taken secretly. Those tall men pushed Su Qianxi to a corner. The man in the lead jumped at her, and the men behind him followed. Damn! NPC? So exciting. Chapter 236. In the room on the screen, there were mirrors on all sides, which seemed to be a dance studio or something like that. Oh my god! Oh my god! Several men at the same time? Su Qianxi was so good at playing. However, was Su Qianxi such a person? Su Qianxi had always been soft. She looked arrogant in high school, but in fact, she bullied the weak and feared the strong. Later, she became a good girl. Based on her personality, she was definitely not the type to play this kind of game. What's more, although she heard that Li Xiqing had a bad temper, he was rich and handsome. Why did he have to play this kind of game? Yu Lily shook her head and stared at the screen for a long time. From the details, she could see that this video was edited. Then she looked down and the picture suddenly changed. It became a PowerPoint. The first picture was Su Qianxi chatting with Lu Yihan. The second picture was Su Qianxi smiling, and Lu Yihan's eyes under the rimless glasses were full of tenderness. The third picture was Lu Yihan and Su Qianxi sitting opposite each other. From the angle of the picture, it seemed that they were kissing. More than a dozen pictures eating sitting opposite each other playing. All the main characters were Lu Yihan. The smile on Yu Lily's face had completely disappeared, and her heart seemed to be in bursts of pain. So painful, so painful. She knew that Lu Yihan liked Su Qianxi. She, Yu Lily, never knew. So in high school, she often targeted her and bullied her. Despite this, the relationship between Su Qianxi and Lu Yihan was as strong and indestructible. Su Qianxi was insensitive and naive, thinking that it was friendship between them. But Yu Lily knew that for Lu Yihan, it was not. The picture on the screen changed. Looking at the ambient light, It was evening. At the entrance of an alley, Su Chenxi helped Lu Yihan out, but suddenly, Lu Yihan pulled her down. On the screen, Lu Yihan was safe and sound, and Su Chenxi seemed to exclaim. With one hand on his side, she hung over him, staring at him with her eyes wide open. A few strands of hair fell on Lu Yihan's face. The picture froze, and the picture changed to a dim ward. Su Chenxi's eyes were closed, and Lu Yihan's soft eyes were gazing at her, leaning over and kissing her. Yu Lily found herself going crazy with jealousy. Why could Su Chenxi spend so much time with him, while she could not even see his face? Why? She sniffled and resisted the urge to cry. She clenched the mouse and smashed the video. Such a video, whether it was Su Chenxi or Lu Yihan, was extremely harmful. Although she was jealous of Su Chenxi, she could not deny that she really liked that innocent and kind girl. Let's just take it as paying off the debt I owed in high school. After deleting and shredding the video, Yu Lily confirmed that there was nothing left in the computer, and then she turned to leave. Tang Menjing and Tang Mengqing stared at Su Chenxi for a long time. After more than 10 minutes, Su Chenxi did not seem to be affected. Tang Mengqing stomped her foot. Weiya must have changed the lipstick. I knew the packaging was wrong. Tang Menjing gritted her teeth and whispered, "Let's go back first." Back in the control room, Tang Mengqing immediately noticed that something was wrong with the computer. Startled, she looked around and found that the video was nowhere to be found. "What should we do, sister? The video is gone." Tang Menjing heard that and quickly went to check. Sure enough, it was empty. "What should we do? Should we just let her go?" "I don't want to." Tang Mengqing was anxious. Chapter 237. After Captain Li Sun's humorous speech, he successfully turned his attention to Su Chenxi. Su Chenxi was slender and graceful. Looking down with a smile, she looked elegant and noble. Her light golden dress accentuated her figure to the fullest. The dress was conservative but not stiff, formal but not deliberate. She looked energetic in it. Polite words were just polite words after all. What could a little girl say? She must have prepared a draft and just recited it when the time came. There were more than one or two people who thought so. Almost everyone did not have any hope. However, as soon as Su Chenxi spoke, she attracted the attention of the people around her. The reporters broadcasted the scene on Weibo. Su Chenxi's speech, posture, smile and temperament were all praised by netizens. Old Master Li Sun clearly sensed that the crowd's initial disdain had turned into focus and admiration. He was very proud of himself. She was his granddaughter-in-law. He chose her himself. Humph. After Su Chenxi said that, the surrounding lights suddenly dimmed, and the big screen on the stage where Su Chenxi was standing suddenly lit up. Melodious piano music appeared, mellow and sad. Su Chenxi was dazed. This music was elegy. Looking back, she saw a photo on the big screen. In the photo, an elegant white grand piano was placed under layers of wisteria. Golden sunlight shone through the gaps of the wisteria, embellishing the piano with gold. A girl in white was sitting in front of the piano, playing with her eyes down. Her face was a bit wet. And just behind the girl, a tall and straight figure stood behind, looking at the girl with soft eyes. Seeing such a scene, many people were slightly surprised. Especially O Ming, sitting below, shaking the wine glass in his hand. He couldn't help but complain, "Damn, that guy Li Xiqing really likes his wife. What about the divorce? What about the contract?" O Ming touched his nose and turned to look at Yu Lily. Yu Lily looked at Su Chenxi's slender figure with envy in her eyes. Su Chenxi's life was really good. The melodious piano music continued, but the picture had changed. High in the sky, Li Xiqing kissed her with tenderness in his eyes. Su Chenxi's eyes were wide open. Obviously, she had been kissed secretly. On the beach, Su Chenxi's face was held, her lips sucked, and her cheeks were red. At the underwater restaurant, she put her hand on his shoulder and looked up at him. Her eyes were filled with happiness. One by one, the pictures flashed past, causing the surrounding reporters to exclaim that they were showing off their love. Seeing that, Tang Menjing's nails almost dug into her arms. Damn it! Tang Mengqing could not stand it anymore. Why does Li Xiqing like her so much? I don't like it. Tang Menjing snorted. He can't like her. If he liked Su Qianxi, he would never touch me.
The baby in my belly is the best evidence.
Tang Mengqing was a bit unsure. Looking at the images, Li Xiqing's expression looked so real and vivid. Could it be that it was all an act?
He only wanted to do it for the old man to see. The old man forced him so much.
Tang Mengqing was relieved. What should we do now? Chapter 238.
What the? Mr. Li is so handsome.
Su Qianxi is so lucky to have such a man.
Su Qianxi is so lucky to have such a man.
Su Qianxi's classmates all exclaimed, full of envy and jealousy. On the big screen, the image changed again, and a face appeared.
Ah, Li Xiqing so handsome.
Li Xiqing appeared on the big screen with the same cold face.
There was no expression on his face, but his slightly soft eyes showed that he was in a good mood.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to my wife's press conference. I am Li Xiqing.
His voice was deep and mellow.
It was an extremely pleasant and moving voice. Seeing his face, Su Qianxi's heart raced. Wow, really handsome. And really, really handsome. Su Qianxi blushed, looking at the screen behind her. She knew that this was recorded by Li Xiqing in advance. Looking at the background, it should have been recorded in the United States. When the time comes, we will have a grand wedding. I hope you can come again. Thank you. Li Xiqing had always been a person who knew how to say nice things. This kind of thing was said by him like a news anchor. Su Qianxi couldn't help laughing. Looking up at his face, she felt sweet inside. What should she do? She felt so happy that she could die. She thought that after Li Xiqing said that, it would be the end. Unexpectedly, the expression on his face became softer, just like when he was facing her. He said, "Finally, thank you to my wife, waiting for me to come back." Wife? Well, it felt good. I will wait for you. Su Qianxi responded in a low voice, not noticing that there was a microphone in front of her. Her voice was clearly heard in the room. On the screen, Li Xiqing paused and finally said, "Love you." The room was in an uproar. How could Li Xiqing say such sarcastic words? Hearing this, the people around them wanted to scratch the wall and kill themselves. Dog abuse, dog abuse. God, the world is crazy. Oh Ming almost ate his wine glass. Did he see a ghost? When I saw it, I had the same reaction. Opposite Oh Ming sat a young man. Because of the occasion, he was wearing a suit and leather shoes, which was rare. A pair of peach blossom eyes stared at the computer placed in front of him. His fingers gently moved as he let out a long sigh. This brat left a mess for me to clean up. He's too much. Tisk, tisk. Oh Ming didn't give him a good look. I heard that you extorted a lot of money from Lao Er. You're just doing something and you're complaining. If I were Lao Er, I would kill you. Luo Zhan chuckled. If you don't point it out, you're still a good brother. As he spoke, he pressed the enter key on the keyboard and nodded in satisfaction. Done, my mission is complete. Another 10 million. Yu Lily spat out a mouthful of wine. 10 million. Damn, she really didn't understand the world of the rich. So what if he couldn't be there? He could just arrange for an assistant to help him play the video. Chapter 239. The big screen that was fixed on Li Xiqing's handsome face suddenly flickered and gradually dimmed. This kind of light, in the venue where the lights had not yet been restored, created a kind of mysterious atmosphere. Everyone looked over. Suddenly, a scream rang out from the speakers in all directions. The scream caught everyone off guard. Everyone was startled, but Tang Menjing looked more and more smug. Seeing Su Qianxi looking at her in shock, Tang Menjing pointed at the ground and mouthed to her, "Go to hell." Su Qianxi looked at Tang Menjing's confident look and felt sympathetic. Finally, looking at Tang Menjing's smug look, she slowly smiled. In her smile, there was sarcasm, sympathy, and boundless hatred. Coldness instantly filled her eyes. Coldness, as if from the boundless hell, was transmitted from Su Qianxi's eyes to Tang Menjing's heart. Tang Menjing was startled. Seeing Su Qianxi's extremely cold smile, the smile on her face disappeared. Still so arrogant at the brink of death. When the video gets to the point, I'll see how you deal with it. Feeling resentful, Tang Menjing looked away from Su Chenxi's face and fell on the big screen. On the big screen, several men pushed a woman to the corner.
The leading man directly lunged at her, and the other men around him were also tempted.
Such a shocking scene made everyone's eyes widen.
That woman is Mrs. Li? I did not expect Mrs. Li to be so open. No, that does not seem to be Mrs. Li. The woman's face was gradually shown in close-up.
Her facial features were exquisite, and she looked flirtatious and elegant, which was obviously different from Su Chenxi's charming appearance.
This face was clearly... Isn't that Secretary Tang?
Someone exclaimed. Everyone's eyes fell on Tang Menjing. Tang Menjing felt like she was struck by lightning and suddenly froze. Looking at the video that she had asked someone to edit, she had personally directed every detail and process. If one did not watch it carefully, they would never be able to tell that the video was edited. She was sure that with this video, Su Chenxi would not be able to explain herself even if she had 10 mouths. However, when she was the protagonist of the video that had boosted her confidence, she was dumbfounded. How is this possible? How could this be? Wasn't that supposed to be Su Chenxi's face? However, every detail on the video was so vivid, as if it was really her NPC that had been secretly filmed. Su Chenxi looked at Tang Menjing from afar and said coldly into the microphone, "Didn't you say that you were going to reveal my true colors? Could it be that this is my true face?" Tang Menjing's face was pale. Looking at the big screen, she felt a chill running down her spine.
It's not me, it's not me. Tang Menjing felt cold all over.
Su Chenxi. It was Su Chenxi who wanted to hurt me. Why did you hurt me? Before he could finish his sentence, the scene changed. Chapter 240. Tang Menjing's voice was hesitant.
But. No buts.
Be smart. Su Chenxi, that be *TCH. So what if the old man likes her? I am still Qin Shuhua's favorite. When the old man is dead, we will have a lot of fun.
When the old man was dead.
This old man was referring to Old Master Li Sun. Standing on the stage, Captain Li looked at Tang Menjing with disgust and disdain in his cloudy eyes. Tang Menjing seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Li Sun had always known that this girl was not a kind person, but he did not expect that she was so vicious that she always wanted him dead. Just because Qin Shuhua liked her, she wanted to marry into the Li family? Not to mention that Li Sun was still alive. Even if he was dead, he would not let the Tang family take the position of the second wife of the Li family. Condemnation, disgust, disdain, disappointment, and disbelief were all focused in one direction. Tang Menjing clearly felt the eyes of the people around her, and she stepped back and back. Her beautiful face was deathly pale. Her body trembled slightly as she murmured, "It's not me, it's not me. Why did you frame me?" No one sympathized with her. On the screen was still a photo of Tang Menqing and Tang Menjing. In the speakers their voices continued. "So what? If I can't get her this time, I will wait for the next time. Didn't the old man hold a press conference for her? Let's do it. At that time, I will give them a big gift. I still have a trump card. Su Chenxi, what does she have to compete with me?" "What gift?" Tang Menqing asked curiously. "You will know." Suddenly, the phone rang. Tang Menjing said, "I have to take a call. You go out first." "You are so cautious even about your own sister." Yu Lily's voice was particularly loud in the quiet hall. However, this sound was like a small stone thrown into the lake. It immediately startled the originally quiet fish at the bottom of the lake, and the surrounding people began to whisper. "This Tang Menjing is so scary. Isn't it said that the eldest daughter of the Tang family is well-educated, gentle and kind-hearted?" "Kind-hearted as hell." How did Mrs. Li offend Tang? Not only did she kill her child, but she also wants to humiliate her on such an occasion. If she succeeds, Mrs. Li will be too ashamed to see others in the future. The whispers grew louder and louder. Tang Menjing's face became paler and paler, and her legs became weaker and weaker. It can't be like this, it can't be like this. She had clearly arranged everything. She had clearly deployed everything long ago. Things should develop according to her plan, right? Why was it like this? Why? Tang Menjing was puzzled and looked at Su Chenxi. Su Chenxi's eyes fell on a corner. In that corner, Ou Ming and Luo Zhan were sitting together. Luo Zhan? Yes, Luo Zhan. Tang Menjing was suddenly enlightened, feeling hopeless. Luo Zhan was one of Li Xiqing's few friends and one of the top hackers in the industry. Only Li Xiqing could have the face and money to hire him. In other words, what happened today was actually arranged by Li Xiqing. Chapter 241. The plane from New York to Kingstown Airport landed at 20:48 a.m. Beijing time. Yu Lili finally understood why Li Xiqing gave Luo Zhan the 10 million yuan. 10 million. However, since Tang Menjing could reap what she had sown, the 10 million was well worth it. She was secretly shocked by Li Xiqing's means and envious of Su Qianxi. She had such a man who loved her, and a male best friend who protected her so much. Su Qianxi's fate was much better than hers. And she. Looking at Ou Ming, Yu Lili felt unspeakable bitterness in her heart. Between people, there could really be such a big gap, such a big gap. Ou Ming was talking to Luo Zhan. He seemed to feel Yu Lili's gaze and looked over. Seeing her obviously unhappy face, he slightly approached and asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Yu Lili pursed her lips and decided to ignore him. Ou Ming raised his eyebrows, feeling a little inexplicable. He cheekily approached her and kissed her on the cheek. "Not happy?" Yu Lili looked disgusted and wiped her lips with her hand. "Is it dirty?" "It's not like I haven't tried dirtier things." Ou Ming curled his lips. "Let's try it later?" "Go away." Yu Lili felt disgusted. This man was so disgusting. Obscene. Shameless. Ou Ming narrowed his eyes. Without saying a word, he put his arm around her waist and forced her to sit next to him. They put the two chairs next to each other, and the two of them leaned against each other intimately. Yu Lili wanted to escape, but Ou Ming quickly held her down and whispered, "If you run away once, I will do it 10 times tonight." "You try." His voice was evil, with a warning that could not be ignored. She knew that he was absolutely not joking. Yu Lili suddenly became quiet. Suddenly thinking of something, she asked, "What if I don't run away?" "Then do it once." But for how long he did not know. Yu Lili did not know what he was thinking and was held by him obediently. Ou Ming was very satisfied and considerately helped her with the dishes. "Let's eat." "Oh." Tang Menjing couldn't stand it anymore and sat on the ground. The floor was covered with a thick carpet. It wouldn't hurt if he fell on his butt, but it was extremely embarrassing. Tang Menjing wanted to stand up, but her legs were weak. "Oh, my daughter." A crying voice came from afar. A slightly fat middle-aged woman ran over, crying. Seeing Tang Menjing sitting on the ground, she shouted, "My daughter, why are you sitting on the ground? You are hurting the baby in your belly." This sound was more like a bomb that startled the entire place, causing an uproar in the crowd. The child in her belly? Tang Menjing was pregnant? Mrs. Tang ran over and helped Tang Menjing up. She grabbed the microphone that Tang Menjing had dropped on the ground and shouted, "Qin Shuhua, come out. Let's have a talk." Qin Shuhua was the name of Li Xiqing's mother. "Your second son got my daughter pregnant. Don't you have to take responsibility?" Mrs. Tang's voice was so loud that it was deafening. Qin Shuhua was chatting with a group of relatives and friends in the inner room, not noticing the chaos outside. Hearing the noise, she ran out and saw Tang Menjing in a daze. Feeling heartbroken, she hurried over and asked, "What happened?" Chapter 242. Mrs. Tang's voice was very loud. She did not know what it meant to be low-key. In front of everyone, he boldly claimed that his own daughter was the mother of the eldest grandson of the Li clan. What a scandal! Since ancient times, the first requirement to become the eldest son of the eldest grandson was the status. And now, even if the child in Tang Menjing's belly was really Li Xiqing's, it could only be regarded as an illegitimate child. The status was not legitimate. Where did the eldest grandson come from? Everyone was amazed by Mrs. Tang's cheekiness. Looking at each other, they did not forget to look at Su Qianxi. Compared with Tang Menjing's embarrassment and Mrs. Tang's arrogance, Su Qianxi looked natural and graceful. Standing on the stage, her temperament was extraordinary. Although her expression was cold, she had an inexplicable charm.
No wonder Captain Li chose Mrs. Li instead of Miss Tang. Someone in the crowd said this, and those who wanted to please the Li family immediately echoed, their voices getting louder and louder. Tang Menjing suddenly looked up, grabbed Qin Shuhua with both hands and cried, "Auntie, auntie!" Then she burst into tears. "I know you love me the most. I know I have embarrassed you, but the child is innocent. The child in my belly is really Brother Xiqing's. You watched me grow up. Please believe me." Qin Shuhua had always liked this girl. Not only because Tang Menjing was smart and capable, but also because she had always been gentle and considerate in front of Qin Shuhua. Having watched her grow up, Qin Shuhua thought she knew her very well. Such a child would not lie to her. Hearing Tang Menjing's words, Qin Shuhua felt pity and held her. Before she said anything, she heard an authoritative voice. "Shuhua, come here." The voice was old and deep, authoritative without being angry. Qin Shuhua looked at Captain Li and then at Tang Menjing, feeling a bit embarrassed. Tang Menjing grabbed her arm and knelt on the ground. "The child is more than 3 months old. It is a boy." "Auntie." Hearing that, Su Chenxi felt a bit suffocated. More than 3 months. It was also more than 3 months since the last time they went to Australia on a business trip. That meant she was pregnant at that time. Looking at Tang Menjing's expression, it did not seem to be fake. And that phone call. His heart was gripped tightly. She stood there, looking in that direction, and gradually clenched her fists. Captain Li clearly noticed Su Chenxi's emotional change. He reached out and put his hand on her shoulder. "That boy won't." No one knew Li Xiqing better than him. The boy's character was too similar to his. He would never do such a thing. Captain Li was very sure. Su Chenxi nodded and felt reassured. Yes, he was not that kind of person. "Menjing, please get up first. Let's talk when Xiqing comes back, okay?" Qin Shuhua felt sorry for Tang Menjing since they were both friends. If she had been more insistent, Li Xiqing would not have married her. Tang Menjing cried even louder and said, "If you don't believe me, I won't get up. The baby in my belly is really Brother Xiqing's." "It's true." "Is that so?" A cold voice passed through the crowd and came from afar. Everyone turned to the source of the voice and saw a tall, travel-worn figure standing at the entrance of the venue. Chapter 243. The man was tall and straight, tall and handsome. Just by standing there, he had an irresistible charm. He stepped into the hall, expressionless and dressed formally. He seemed to be surrounded by a cold aura. However, when Su Chenxi saw that figure, there seemed to be something in her heart that was quickly fermenting and out of control. The bitterness and sweetness suddenly converged in her heart and turned into a strong sense of joy, directing her to run in that direction. Seeing her, Li Xiqing's cold eyes softened a bit and he opened his arms to her. Su Chenxi directly ran into his arms and hugged him tightly. The warm embrace made the coldness in Li Xiqing's eyes dissipate a bit. Su Chenxi hugged him and said happily, "You're back." "Yes, I'm back." His voice was deep and mellow, like the sound of a top-notch cello being played slowly. Su Chenxi hugged him and looked up at his face. Li Xiqing seemed to be very tired recently. His originally clean eyes were blue. In just a few days in the United States, his face seemed to be sharper and colder. He had lost a lot of weight. Su Chenxi felt sorry for him and stroked his face. "Are you very tired?" Li Xiqing held her hand and kissed it gently. "I don't feel tired when I see you." "Oh!" Captain Li exclaimed with a serious face. "Young man, be careful." As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding people couldn't help but chuckle. "Tisk, tisk. It hurts my eyes." Luo Zhan looked resentful. "Brother, it's inhumane to show off to a dog. Do you know that? What a show of affection." O Ming was secretly jealous and looked at Yu Lily. "Let's do it too." Yu Lily slapped him away. "Get out." Mrs. Tang was furious. With her hands on her hips, she picked up the microphone and shouted, "Li Xiqing, you're back at the right time. Let's talk about what you mean." Li Xiqing narrowed his eyes and pulled Su Chenxi closer. Seeing Mrs. Tang's reaction, Qin Shuhua pulled her son and said, "It's time to talk. What's going on with you? Why is Tang Menjing suddenly pregnant?" Qin Shuhua's attitude was undoubtedly clear. She trusted Tang Menjing.
Captain Li's face darkened. He yelled, "Shuhua, get out of the way. Let Xiqing handle this himself." "But, come back." Qin Shuhua fell silent and walked toward Captain Li. "Brother Xiqing." Seeing that Su Qianxi and Li Xiqing were so close, Tang Menjing was extremely jealous. However, she still pretended to be pitiful and looked at Li Xiqing. "I'm sorry. I should not have kept the baby without telling you." Yes." He looked at her coldly without any warmth in his eyes. "You can keep your child if you want." Tang Menjing gritted her teeth, stood up and said, "This is also your child. You are the father of the child, aren't you?" Li Xiqing suddenly smiled. His smile was like a flash in the pan, eye-catching. Regardless of whether it was the Li clan, the Tang clan, or the guests who had come to attend the meet and greet today, they were all baffled. However, although Li Xiqing was smiling, his smile was as cold as the wind. Chapter 244. Li Xiqing slowly said, "When I was 18 at my birthday party, you pretended to be drunk and climbed into my bed, trying to seduce me. I asked Lu Sa to send you back. After that, I did not say a word to anyone else." It had been 8 years since she was 18. Tang Menjing's face turned pale, not knowing why he would suddenly bring up the past. "When I was 20, you pretended to sprain your ankle and asked me to send you home, but you deliberately claimed that you were my girlfriend, making my mother think that we were close. I did not clarify it and kept my distance from you. Last year, I went on a business trip to Australia. At a party, you deliberately asked your male classmate to provoke me, wanting me to fight with him for you. After that failed, you sent someone to block my car, just to get me to give you an explanation. This year on my wedding night, you drugged me and tried to seduce me into your room. After you failed, you framed my wife, trying to make me hate her and distance myself from her. After that, you deliberately came to my door to remind me. I just didn't want to pursue the matter." The more Tang Menjing listened, the paler her face became. It turned out that he knew everything. But why? How did he know that? She had done it so discreetly. F***ck me. That's too shameless. You Lily shouted loudly, and many people chimed in. Mr. Li would never lie, and this woman did not deny it at all. What happened to being a well-bred lady? What happened to being intellectual and generous? You can't judge a book by its cover. It really does seem to be the case. Tang Menjing's body became cold, and her face became pale. He looked at her coldly from the corner of his eyes and said coldly, "A few months ago, you hired someone to instruct Coach Jean to violate my wife, causing my first child to be aborted before it was even discovered." Tang Menjing almost fell, but Mrs. Tang caught her in time. As if he did not notice her emotional breakdown, he continued, 3 months ago, on a business trip to Australia, you got drunk and tried to seduce me to stay with you. You tried to drag me into your room. I was in a hurry to go back to China, so I asked Cheng Yu to help you sober up. However, you drove her away and went into a room with a strange man. As soon as he said that, the crowd went into an uproar. 3 months ago, and Tang Menjing's baby was 3 months old, which meant nonsense. Tang Menjing was hysterical. "It's you. It's you. I'll know it's you even if you turn into ashes. Don't try to lie to me." Li Xiqing curled his lips. "I was already on the plane back home. How could I have a child with you?" No. Tang Menjing looked like she was in pain, but her tone was firm. "It is you. Except for you, I will not be with any other man." Tang Menjing sobbed and begged, "Brother Xiqing, please let them go first. We can talk in private, okay?" Too many things were involved in this matter. Tang Menjing was scared. Tang Zhenghao couldn't afford to lose face. There were so many reporters around, and the gossip must have spread. She had to stop the situation before it was over. However, Li Xiqing did not cooperate with her. Chapter 245. Tang Menjing could not hold it anymore and burst into tears. Nothing was more painful than being rejected by the one you loved. There was nothing more terrifying than having one's dignity crushed in front of everyone. She was still pregnant with his child. She was pregnant with his child. Tang Menjing cried.
which made many soft-hearted women sympathize with her. However, there must be something hateful about a poor person, someone in the crowd said. Tang Menjing cried even louder. Brother Xiqing, it doesn't matter if you don't want to admit it. The baby in my belly is the flesh and blood of the Li family. He is your son. No matter how much you hate me and don't want to talk to me, this is an undeniable fact. This is Li Xiqing's first child, his first son. Your eldest son. Su Chenxi held Li Xiqing's hand tightly, feeling a bit uneasy. She looked up at him. Was what Tang Menjing said true? Li Xiqing noticed her little movement, held her hand tightly and whispered, "Do you believe me?" His voice was very low. Only the two of them could hear it. Su Chenxi looked at his cold and calm face, feeling a bit absent-minded. In her mind, the ambiguous voice on the phone kept echoing. With Tang Menjing's obsession with Li Xiqing, it was impossible for her to fool around outside. Su Chenxi firmly believed that. However, Li Xiqing said it was not true. Who was telling the truth? Do you believe me? Do you? Don't you? Li Xiqing's eyes dimmed. Su Chenxi was silent for a few seconds and nodded. I believe you. She had to believe him. As long as she believed it, he was not, wasn't he? Su Chenxi held his hand tightly, looked up at Tang Menjing, and said loudly, "Then, let's do a DNA test." Yes or no, they would know after a test. Nothing is more convincing than the truth, isn't it? Luo Zhan heard that and clapped his hands. Blood test. We will know after a test. If our second son liked you, how could he have married our sister-in-law? The truth always hurt. There was resentment in Tang Menjing's eyes. Seeing Su Chenxi and Li Xiqing holding hands, she couldn't help feeling jealous. Originally, this should have belonged to her. She should be the one who was publicly despised and humiliated. Oh, my daughter! Mrs. Tang cried out. Why did I end up with such a bad man? He looks like a decent man, but in fact, he abandoned me. He's so shameless. You can't talk nonsense like that. Oh Ming finally spoke. His tall figure came into view, and the corners of his eyes were slightly raised. No one knows better than me what kind of person Li Xiqing is. Are you afraid to let your daughter do a DNA test? Su Chenxi asked. Yeah, you don't dare anymore, right? Tisk. TSK. She's asking for it. She just got pregnant and blamed it on Li Xiqing. It's terrible. Li Xiqing is so miserable. Well, I knew Miss Tang loves Mr. Li. Tang Menjing covered her belly and cried even harder. Li Xiqing, you don't want your child, but I do. What do you mean? You don't dare to do a test? You're afraid of being exposed. With tears in her eyes, Tang Menjing stared at Su Chenxi and yelled, The child has not been born yet. How can we do a test? Chapter 246. Su Chenxi's voice was surprisingly calm, and her expression was indifferent. Her posture and dark eyes were full of hatred and indifference. Looking at Su Chenxi, Tang Menjing had a strange feeling. Was this really Su Chenxi? She had changed so much. In the past, although Su Chenxi was unruly and ill-mannered, she was very timid. Standing in front of so many people, it was difficult for her to even stand, let alone speak. Now, Su Chenxi did not have any stage fright at all. Her temperament and expression were more than different from before. It was like she was a different person. It was like another Li Xiqing. Tang Menjing was a bit shocked. Looking away, she blurted out, No! You Lily sneered. You don't dare, do you? Luo Zhan shook his head. Miss Tang, I did not expect you to be this kind of person. Just because you are pregnant, you blame it on Li Xiqing. That's so mean. You will be sentenced for slander. Tang Menjing gritted her teeth, looked around and said, The fetus is only 3 months old. Amniocentesis? You are forcing me to abort him. Her voice was almost roaring, and then it turned into a wail. Li Xiqing, no matter whether you admit this child or not, I will have this child. This is the child of the Li family, the flesh and blood of the Li family. You can never change that. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone around him fell silent. Amniocentesis had a certain degree of risk. Generally, 4 to 8 months was the best choice. Almost no mother was willing to do this unless it was necessary. However, in this case, could she not do it?
Chang Yu, Li Xiqing said coldly. Chang Yu shivered and quickly walked up. I'm here. Contact a psychiatrist to take a good look at Miss Tang.
As soon as the indifferent voice fell, there was even more silence.
Chang Yu immediately picked up her phone and began to look for her contact list. The surroundings were silent. Suddenly, someone said, Are you really contacting him?
Li Xiqing squinted at that person and said coldly, Li Xiqing, never joke.
Li Xiqing, you bastard. Mrs. Tang screamed. You are the psycho. You are the psycho.
Abandonment at the beginning, pulling out the Diao heartless, bah.
Do you really think that the Li family is a big family? Do you really need the Tang family to climb up the social ladder like this?
Shameless. Shameless. Mrs. Tang's angry voice was the loudest in the room. You have the guts to sleep with me, but you don't have the guts to admit it.
B** stards. A house full of B** stards. Su Qianxi is cheap, and you are also cheap. Bitch couple. Shut up. Li Xiqing's aura suddenly plummeted.
Being yelled at like this, Mrs. Tang, who had been like a wild horse, suddenly stopped. She stuttered.
What? What? Am I wrong? You are a jerk. TSK, a rich wife? So uncultured.
Yeah, you don't dare to do a DNA test because you have a guilty conscience. I've worked with Mr. Li for so many years.
We all know what kind of person he is.
Yes. Humph. Tang Menjing sneered with red eyes.
I will not use my child's life for your experiment. He is his child.
That is for sure.
Or we can try another way, Oming suggested. What way?
A lie detector.
He looked at Tang Menjing. Do you dare? Chapter 247.
Yes, why wouldn't I? Mrs. Tang immediately shouted. My Tang Menjing has only had one man.
She's not like that bitch.
She's always been with other men.
It's a good thing she lost the baby.
Otherwise, the baby wouldn't even know who the father is.
Hearing that, Su Qianxi was furious.
When she was about to retort, she heard someone yell behind her, Watch your mouth. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw Song Yifan walking out with a gloomy face. With such manners, no wonder you have such a shameless daughter.
Hearing Song Yifan's words, Mrs. Tang was also enraged.
She yelled, Who do you think you are?
My daughter is at least polite. She is a bastard whose parents do not even know where she is. Song Yifan was so angry that he almost hit Mrs. Tang.
Instinctively, he retorted, Who said that?
I am her father.
As soon as he finished speaking, the sound of breathing could be heard from the surroundings.
Su Qianxi was also dazed, looking at Song Yifan. After Song Yifan said that, he suddenly felt that it was inappropriate. However, looking at Su Qianxi's shocked eyes, he felt a bit happy and said, I, Song Yifan, am Su Qianxi's father. No matter if she recognizes me or not, she is my daughter.
Damn, that's crazy.
Luo Zhan was the first to yell. Even the business tycoons who were used to seeing a storm felt it was a bit unbelievable. With Song Yifan's current fame and reputation, it was obviously unwise for him to suddenly have an affair with an illegitimate daughter. At the very least, his reputation would be shaken, and at the very worst, his reputation would be ruined. Everything he had worked so hard for over the years could be ruined because of this. Crazy, this was crazy. No wonder Song Yifan would lead his band to this performance. It turned out that there was another reason behind it. Song Yifan did not seem to notice the shock he had caused. With a warning tone, he stared at Mrs. Tang and said, Whoever dares to bully my daughter will have to go through me first. Mrs. Tang was startled by his attitude and was speechless for a moment. The surrounding reporters immediately buzzed like flies, fighting to be the first to spread this explosive news. Within a few minutes, a resounding new title appeared on Weibo. A shocking reversal. The famous pianist Song Yifan is the father-in-law of the Li family? Li Xiqing, I only have one question for you. What is your relationship with Tang Menjing? Song Yifan sounded very tough. Does her child have anything to do with you?
More than 100 eyes fell on them.
Li Xiqing looked calm and said firmly, It's okay. It was the expected answer. She held his hand, but he gently pulled her into his arms. Leaning against his chest, She clearly felt his chest vibrate. His deep and mellow voice came slowly. I, Li Xiqing, have only had one woman. Bah! Mrs. Tang was furious.
She rushed up and slapped Mrs. Tang.
Li Xiqing's eyes darkened, and he moved sideways to protect her. But she was slapped in the back. The dull sound seemed to have hit her heart, making her tremble. Mrs. Tang missed and was furious. She tried to slap Su Qianxi again. However, Li Xiqing caught her hand and gave her a cold look. Pa! Chapter 248.
How dare you hit me?
Mrs. Tang screamed in shock, and subconsciously wanted to hit back. However, before she could do anything, Li Xiqing pushed her hand away. Mrs. Tang stumbled back a few steps and almost fell. Standing still, she looked at Li Xiqing and Su Qianxi in disbelief. Mrs. Tang was exasperated. I am your elder, and this is how you treat your elders.
With a slap and a shove, Mrs. Tang suddenly felt humiliated.
How could these two youngsters treat her like this? Elder. Su Qianxi looked contemptuous. An elder that the youngsters admire is called an elder. You are an old hooligan. Great. A sudden cheer came from the crowd. Old Master Li's eyes were also filled with satisfaction.
He praised. Well said.
With Captain Li taking the lead, more and more people followed suit. Mrs. Tang's face turned pale as she gritted her teeth. Don't go too far. A voice came. Looking back, Tang Menjing was furious, but she suddenly frowned. His face turned pale without warning, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead.
As he spoke, he was already half bent over. Mom, my stomach hurts.
When Tang Menjing was sent to the hospital, no one from the Li family went there. Mrs. Tang was swearing in the hospital. When Tang Zhenghao arrived, he heard his wife swearing. He was so angry that he slapped her hard in the face. Shame on you! Who asked you to go to that kind of place? How stupid! Tang Zhenghao was furious. I really regret letting you marry into the Tang family. You three are a disgrace to the Tang family. Being slapped, Mrs. Tang was dazed at first and then cried hysterically. Your daughter and wife were bullied, and you did not let us bully them. Why did you come back to hit your wife? Tang Zhenghao, you bastard! Shut up!
Tang Zhenghao's face was dark.
Idiot! Who asked you to go to that kind of place? Do you still remember what you wrote about us on Weibo? Both daughters of the Tang family got pregnant before marriage because of heredity. What is written here? Look at it yourself. Mrs. Tang was so scared that she didn't even dare to cry. She put a hand over her mouth and stopped crying. Because of this, the company's stock price has plummeted. In less than 3 hours, the loss is more than the previous failed investment I invested in. It's all because of you. Then what should we do now? Tell me, is Menjing really pregnant with Li Xiqing's child? Absolutely. Hearing the affirmative answer, Tang Zhenghao's expression softened. That's easy. The most important thing now is to protect this child.
Then, there was a fierce look in his eyes.
Li Xiqing wants to destroy my company, but he is still too young.
Mrs. Tang was startled.
You mean, Li Xiqing did this? Tang Zhenghao was a little exasperated.
He gritted his teeth and said, That boy has always been competing with us, but he has no reason to deal with us. Now our backyard is on fire, and he has delivered himself to us.
Mrs. Tang felt even more guilty and didn't dare to speak. Chapter 249. The meet and greet session ended quickly. Captain Li, Qin Shuhua, and other relatives went back together, and the other guests had left. O Ming, Yu Lily, Luo Zhan, and Cheng Yu stayed and found a clean room to sit down with the couple. Cheng Yu, help Luo Zhan find the hotel where we stayed that day and get the surveillance records of that time. Yes. Luo Zhan, help me get the boarding information for that day. Okay. O Ming. Lie detector, right? Leave it to me. No. Li Xiqing looked at Su Qianxi and said, I want you to help me prove my innocence. My wife doesn't seem to trust me, does she? Su Qianxi heard this and felt a bit guilty. She didn't trust her? She wanted to, but Tang Menjing really didn't look like she was lying. Hey, Oming exclaimed. Since when did you care about other people's opinions? When people said you were gay and impotent, you didn't want to prove your innocence. Luo Zhan also felt surprised. Luo Zhan was also amazed. That's right, sister-in-law. There used to be a lot of girls who confessed to him, but he always put on a cold face and scared away a lot of girls. Also, he hugged me again and became my rumored boyfriend from then on. F***ck, this handsome guy is so straight that he can't be any more straight. From then on, he had to face all kinds of gay looks from all kinds of girls. Do you know how painful that feeling is? Luo Zhan looked sad and angry. His words and actions were extremely similar to Lu Yihan's. Su Qianxi chuckled, and at the same time, she thought of Lu Yihan. He was injured to save her, and she didn't know how he was doing in the hospital alone. Oming also tried to smooth things over. He raised his eyebrows and said, he didn't have a girlfriend when he was in school. After he started his business, he was like a monk, either chanting scriptures or eating vegetarian food every day. When I heard that he listened to the old man and married you, I thought I didn't expect him to kill someone. Although the child was not saved, at least it proves that he is not gay or impotent, right? As he said that, he raised his eyebrows at Li Xiqing as if to say, how about it? I'm a good friend, right? Su Qianxi smiled and nodded. Yes. He finally breathed a sigh of relief and took her hand. Let's go home. Hey, throw it away after using it? At least treat us to a meal. Luo Zhan shouted. However, Li Xiqing simply ignored it. Luo Zhan looked at Oming indignantly and said, F***ck, you only care about the opposite sex. Oming also took Yu Lily's hand and smiled wickedly. Let's go home and sleep. Luo Zhan. Boo-hoo. There's no justice in this world. Inhumane. You're abusing me just because of a disagreement. I want to protest. Back home, Su Qianxi gradually blushed. Today, she didn't do it, and no one bothered her. Could it be, ugh, so embarrassing? Li Xiqing sensed that something was wrong with her. He leaned closer and whispered, what are you thinking about? No. She stuttered. Seeing the teasing smile on his face, she blushed all the way down to her neck. That's right, Li Xiqing said. She angrily pulled him into the bathroom. Take a shower first. Li Xiqing did not go in. He turned her over and pressed her against the door. His low voice had a hint of a smile. After the shower. What about after? After. Su Qianxi blushed even more and pushed him in. Shower first. Li Xiqing chuckled and said, yes, ma'am. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.